What up, everyone? Welcome to Star Trek Iskandar, another exciting episode of our tabletop game set in the Star Trek universe in the era immediately after Star Trek Nemesis, run with the Fate system, which all of you probably know because you've probably followed us before. This episode, So Shall You Reap, will be run by moi, Kath, acting as the GM for the course of this episode. So tonight is obviously a brand new episode. As per usual within Star Trek Iskandar, I will be operating, take it easy, I will be operating using our helps and hinders system, which someone else can explain how you do that, because I don't know, because I'm always in this end of the operations center. However, hold your frickin' horses, and I encourage you to not throw helps and hinders blindly at me, because they won't be much use to anybody for probably at least the first half of this session. It will probably become apparent when I start to ask people to roll dice that it's worth sticking out some minors. If you want to stick out a moderate, I guess you can pay money and we'll talk and I'll figure out what the hell I'm going to do to make life worse for people, but I don't need your help to make life worse for these people.
So basically, if you pay us money, you can talk to Kath.
Yeah, you can pay to talk to me. This is a service that I offer. If you pay, I'll yell at you like I yelled at Emily last week. Some people are going to be into that, right?
It's worth it.
Actually, I might.
I'd take money for that.
Chat's about to get real thirsty.
Can I? Yep. Can I buy gift cards for friends? I'm asking for a friend.
There it goes.
We're about to get D whatever it is that Twitch does.
Platformed.
Time to get in the mod queue.
Okay. Also, this episode will be picking up very shortly after the events of the previous episode, and so spoilers abound more so than usual, if that is a thing that you care about, and I will just give a very quick summary of events to remind people who are, playing the game at home, of where we were at, i.e. last episode, Lieutenant, then as he was known, Adam Strange, decided that the best thing he was going to do was going to be to conduct some illicit experiments with Borg nanites for mysterious purposes, which caused a catastrophe. The catastrophe was resolved. However, everyone's real mad at Adam Strange because he did illicit experimentation on Borg nanites, and as it turns out, he was doing it because his boyfriend, Lieutenant Samuel Casey, names are going to be awful, Lieutenant Samuel Casey, may or may not be possibly afflicted or dying of some mysterious thing, which Casey doesn't know about. We'll dig more into that this session. Oh, and Strange got his ass demoted to ensign and is no longer chief engineer of the USS Iskandar.
Strange got actually straight up murdered. Like on screen, absolute, no holds barred, savage death.
Like, savage so much that despite the fact that Kathy's all the way in Lancaster and I'm over here in York, I still, physically felt that. There were injuries the next day still left over from that fucking mauling that I got.
I was shaking. I wasn't even in that scene. I wasn't role-playing any characters. I was just, sitting there shaking.
This and more will happen if you pay me. God.
It says a lot, actually, about our various responses. That Roomba was sat there just kind of blinking, role-playing and just going, I'm getting yelled at. I can live with this. Fucking Mike's there shaking and going, oh, God, I can't do this. Now she's there going, yes, more. Do more.
So Izzy, that's what was going on behind the scenes in here.
In the operations room. So, yes, picking up events merely days afterwards. We open at episode. What number episode is this?
15?
12?
12? I trust Mike.
State 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
It must be
these don't count.
Homophobic.
What? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9,
Thanks for tuning
10,
in.
11, 12. Watching me count, and then I'll yell at you.
Welcome
12.
to the Star Trek Iskandar numbers station.
Number Wang. That's Number Wang. So yes, it's episode 12. So shall you reap. We begin much as where we left, with the camera panning over the USS Iskandar Intrepid class, still docked at starbase number I haven't written down.
183.
As 183, as she was, with the voiceover, Captain's log, stardate 57258.19. It has only been days since the incident on Tamale, and I feel the fallout has only just begun. With the demotion of Adam Strange, we await the arrival of our new chief engineer. This alone would be significant enough upheaval, but Starfleet Command has decided to not let the Iskandar remain idle, and that I will not have the luxury to see my own ship through the difficult days or perhaps weeks to come. Our work, or perhaps our penance, is seemingly never done. Camera moves into the conference room for a staff briefing, at which present is, of course, Captain Athan, Lieutenant Commander Talandra, Lieutenant Kantos, Lieutenant Karazal and Lieutenant Samuel Casey, Dr. Arkady Burov, and also present is fella who arrived a few days ago. His name's Lieutenant Kowalski. He's your new Chief Operations Officer, and who is a kind of, when I say burly young man, a little bit soft about it, but quite a big fellow, sort of floppy blonde hair, clean cut, big smile, quite young.
I think I speak for everyone when I say I love him.
Kowalski's such a good name to shout out in dire circumstances too.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, floppy-haired, husky guy.
Yeah.
I wanna get to know him.
Lieutenant Junior Grade Kowalski. But you all know him. He's there. He's just looking like it's swell to be here, which tells you everything you need to know about Lieutenant Kowalski.
Precious bean.
I think I speak for the wine NBs when I say we love him. We support him. We got him a gift basket when he arrived at the ship.
He thought that was amazing and was very, very happy and enthusiastic.
We should absolutely do an episode where we all choose our favourite secondary characters and do a lower decks arc.
He's a senior officer, Lieutenant Kowalski.
We're just going to end up fighting over being Kowalski in this.
How dare you? I will be Sergei Linkovich or nobody.
That's fair. That's fair.
I'm here for carnal, instant erotica.
Okay, I guess me and Mike fighting over being Kowalski.
I'll let it slide if I can be Alders. What
There we
am
go.
I?
We all have our favourite. We'll make them fight. So,
Anyway.
I believe there may in fact be, like, on the sideboard, some donuts and cake. Is that a thing that is there? What kind of spread is on the side?
So it's
staff
clearly
meeting?
it's clearly designed to evoke in an audience the feeling of cake for a celebration. Like cupcakes, tray bakes. It's not like birthday cake stuff. It's definitely clearly designed by someone who knows that people want to pick up a bit of cake and eat it, and like eating a slice of cake in a meeting is just a recipe for disaster. And like there are some that look kind of like you go, this is recognizably a cake I know. This is a tiffin or a tray bake or something like that. And then things that are designed clearly because the props department went, let's make some stuff that looks a bit alien, but not too alien. But like, we'll put some green filling in this, or we'll do something suitably Trek to make it go, this is food to represent a number of Federation worlds.
Get out the food colouring.
Athan has not touched the spread on the side. Obviously, Kowalski has. Yes.
Yeah, Arkady is sat there with a.
And Athan sits. Thank you all for coming. I have several matters to get to. First is that I am going to be departing Iskandar this afternoon. It is necessary for me to have certain meetings with the Admiralty and certain senior staff officers at Starfleet Engineering, there are still further inquiries which need to be conducted into the Tamellian Incident, and it is best that I conduct some of these face-to-face. I had hoped to be present for some of the matters of the coming days, obviously situating Lieutenant Kowalski. We also will... Our new chief engineer will be arriving tomorrow morning, a Lieutenant Reyes. I do not know anything about her beyond what is on her personnel file. However, it will fall to Commander Talandra to receive and orientate the newest member of our senior staff. Further to that note, with Lieutenant Vance's retirement, I am pleased to announce that Starfleet has confirmed my recommendation for Lieutenant Zal to be given the billet as Chief of Security, USS Iskandar. So congratulations, Lieutenant Zal. It is well earned. Oh, and obviously, I know that Commander Talandra put on some cake, but for Terrans and Vulcans, happy First Contact Day. It is April 5th.
Oh, is that what this is for?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
And thank you very much, Commander.
Well, the cake is for everyone. For First Contact marked the steps towards the founding of the Federation itself. I would not gatekeep the day, even if it does not have significance to those that were not there.
Looks like very fine cake, and maybe I'll have some when I'm not talking for a meeting, Commander. However, much as I would like to say that you would have the next few days or however long I'm gone to familiarize yourself, Starfleet has decided in their wisdom a situation has arisen for which it has been decided that the USS Iskandar will be best positioned to respond. We are relatively close to the Klingon border, and the Klingon Empire has asked for assistance on one of their border colonies for which the Iskandar is best suited. This is the Hatoria system. They're one of the biggest agricultural worlds within the sector, supply an awful lot of the specific crop, I'm not sure what, to a lot of nearby worlds, and they have been afflicted with a crop blight that they have named the Tuhnon. The world is also under quarantine, which information is still coming out as to the nature of this crop blight. It appears to be, I don't know to what extent that is a formality. There are expectations for ships traveling or leaving to conduct some extensive biodecontamination processes, which, as I understand it, are should be fairly incidental for a Starfleet ship to conduct, but the Klingon civilian ships and freight ships are a little bit less equipped to do. So this is going to be a problem for Hatoria. It's going to be a problem for Hatoria being under quarantine. For the moment, they should, by all accounts, be able to persist with their stockpiles. But if this blight isn't seen to resolved in some way, then that will have repercussions for supply lines across the sector, and obviously if the quarantine continues, that will have further ramifications for Hatoria's capacity to support itself. So that's one of the reasons why the Klingon Empire has asked for a nearby Intrepid-class starship with its science team to visit Hatoria, provide relief to the peoples of Hatoria, to the colonists, and also see what, I imagine Lieutenant Casey will be asked to see what can be done about this Tuhnon, as we frankly can put on a more rapid disaster relief and scientific inquiry than the Klingon Empire can, partly due to our proximity. There is one oddity about Hatoria which also justifies us. There's something to do, it'll be in your briefing packets, there's something to do with what happened to the atmosphere over the course of the terraforming processes on Hatoria, which interferes with transporters. You can use them, I'm sure Linkovich could figure out a way, but it's riskier, more difficult, more complicated, and usually freight comes from freighters landing, shipping back and forth. Hang on a moment, OC. My other half would not shut up in the next room.
I honestly expect you to lean out and go, "Will you shut up?"
He knows I am streaming and is whittering on very loudly.
I wasn't sure if that was because of Luke or because of the cat.
No, I don't know if the microphone was picking it up.
There was noise.
God.
I couldn't tell whether it was human or feline. I was just aware there was noise.
I heard his laugh a couple of times.
Yeah, it carries. Yes, something which occurred over the terraforming process. I'm sure it's in the briefing documentation. Interferes with the transporters. Whilst transporters are possible, it's more complicated. Ships tend to land, and obviously the Intrepid class is able to land on the surface. So the intention is that Iskandar will be able to be more of a portable, a mobile scientific laboratory to land upon the surface of Hatoria. The rulers of Hatoria, House Ratek, led by Lady Ratek, are issued the request themselves and are expecting you. I'm sure that they will furnish you with further information, whatever has happened, and have extended some indication of offers of hospitality. But much as I'd like to be there with you, this is a fairly simple relief mission and scientific undertaking to assist this colony. As I said, there'll be briefing packages, but do you have any questions for me?
Sounds like a fairly straightforward mission, Captain.
Following on from the peace conference, Captain, are there any ongoing situations with the Klingons we should be aware of?
Certainly none of which I'm aware which will have any should be a problem here. The House of Ratek, as I say, rule a fairly quiet border world. Many of you will probably not have probably not have visited a Klingon world directly, and if you have, I would expect it would probably be Kronos. They have a relatively strict social hierarchy. Respect. They are our closest allies, but sometimes that can make it quite jarring of the differences in their social hierarchy. It is not an egalitarian culture. Obviously, I don't need to tell you to be respectful of other cultures, but just more as refresh yourselves on what you need to, or be ready to keep something of an open mind. I will expect that the fact that you are there to help should not make them confrontational. As I say, House Ratek requested the assistance of Starfleet directly. Is that all? Any questions? Then I'll see you all in a few days or weeks, however long it takes for me to be done or for you to be done. If you could stay a moment, Commander Talandra, but otherwise dismissed.
Of course.
Hello.
We'll potter out.
On Talandra's instruction, Kowalski takes the tray out to the officers' mess.
Yeah, good boy. For the fact that I'm not happy that Starfleet has given Iskandar an assignment while I'm going to be indisposed, obviously you have my full trust, Commander, and I do not believe that Starfleet would be issuing such instructions if they did not believe that this was not something which Iskandar was not perfectly equipped to do. Run disaster relief in a science lab, it should be fine. Do you have any thoughts or concerns about orientating a new chief engineer?
I am still somewhat concerned, Captain, about the potential for friction between a new engineer and the previous incumbent.
Mm-hmm.
But Ensign Strange has been doing his best to keep his head down and work as assigned.
Good. When I say I don't want to come back and hear a single report of anything that Strange has done that might be out of turn, obviously that's a reflection on him, not you. He's lucky to be in the uniform. And that's something I'm probably going to have to answer for someone as well. But there has been a little... My current lines of information are not what they were. People aren't talking to me as much as they were, but there has been some movement, some reports from Cardassia.
Indeed.
I know that a meeting has been arranged between the Prime Elector and significant figures within the Starfleet Diplomatic Corps. I believe to be something related to Cala Valrad. I know that a joint statement from Central Command and the Cardassian Judiciary is expected within the fortnight. I'm sorry to say, Commander, I no longer have the pull to be kept in the loop.
An unfortunate side effect of the Tamellian Incident.
Or to be able to influence anything. And I don't want to say or assert anything that what I did at the conference... What I did at the conference may have needed some follow-through, and Starfleet may have supported it because of my reputation. I can't vouch and assume that this is going to go the way I would have wanted it to, because there are people who will no longer listen to Captain Athan said this was a good idea. I worry that the Cardassians may no longer feel the pressure from Starfleet for this to go as we would hope it to. I don't mean to be a harbinger of bad omens, Commander, but I have to be realistic.
Captain, may I speak personally for a moment? The reason why I still keep First Contact Day as a cause for celebration is not simply because it was a momentous event in the history of Terran-Vulcan relations, nor simply because it was a precursor moment to the founding of the Federation. But for me, it symbolizes the beginning of the Proto-Federation peoples' ability to put trust in something greater than them, something tangible. I am disappointed, of course, that you are no longer able to handle this situation, because I know and trust your judgment. But I trust the Federation. You have, as Zephram Cochrane did, set something in motion that you will not see the outcome of. But I am no less grateful for the part that you played in what is to come.
I hope your faith pays off, Commander. Well, the next few days are probably going to be unpleasant for me, but that's such as it is for being a Starfleet captain of a ship.
I am aware that there is little we can do to contain this long term, but the new engineer, is she aware of what occurred on Tamelia?
I don't know how much she knows. I would hope that personnel at least warned her that she is replacing a disgraced officer who is still aboard. I don't know what she knows. Once I imagine I might have had the liberty of having more influence in picking my senior staff. However, it seems that Starfleet is going to insist not only that I must spend some time in a captain's chair, because that is what all officers with ambition must do, but I think they're going to insist that now I must do it with my hands tied behind my back.
Then with your permission, Captain, I shall brief her fully upon her arrival.
Mission granted. This is going to have legs across the ship anyway, as a story.
I imagine one cannot work in engineering without hearing of it somehow.
That is true. Well, the ship is yours, Commander, and the mission.
Thank you, Captain. Live long and prosper.
And you. They can. Well, Thon still does not, despite assertions, get cake. But scene shifts to Lieutenant Casey. You have a message waiting for you in a personal message, which Casey can take in his quarters.
I don't.
You don't take it. Okay.
Scene
Well,
ends.
first,
No.
scene ends.
No.
Well, one of the to be fair, it's the I'm referring to it's a spee-mail. It's an email.
Yeah. I'll give it a read.
How's it read? It's a notice from the Daystrom Academy. They want to thank you very much for your contributions on your research into gravitational lensing, and they also want to thank you for your interest in future events. But unfortunately, after consideration, we do not feel your ongoing work is suited to our department's future research priorities, and we wish you luck in future endeavors.
Okay. I closed that.
It was a good conference. It was a really successful conference. You're sure of it?
Oh, that's an intrusive thought. I don't like it. I don't like that thought. What if it is because of Adam? What if?
Probably is. Yeah, I mean, if it helps, it probably
It probably is.
Probably is. But what if it is?
Oh, and beep beep, you have an incoming subspace communication.
Accept.
Okay. The screen you are in your quarters. It's a private conversation. The screen changes for two figures. Do one of you two want to describe the faces that we see?
I've never had physical descriptions for them.
Mike,
really.
describe what do we see for this call?
Of the two women on screen, the shorter one wears her hair in a practical bun, fairly kind of pudgy cheeks, bright eyes. The taller, a little bit more of a long face. Again, quite severe haircut, like they're used to, I don't know, working in labs or something. Both in their late 40s, early 50s.
It is for those of you who would have seen previous episodes and would recognize them. It is Mina Clavora and Riley Casey, who Lieutenant Sammy Casey's mothers.
My mum's.
Your mums.
Sammy?
Oh,
Sammy, you there?
yes.
You can hear
Hello?
us?
Yes, I can hear you.
It's coming through clearly?
Yes, perfectly clear. Thank you. Hello.
Getting a bit of interference our end. Just a moment.
Okay.
I think that subspace booster, they did say it might have been... Is it lagging?
I'm not getting any lag on my side.
I think it's lagging a bit for us.
It might be. You're a bit breaking up a little.
Oh. I can't help that. I'm sorry.
You there?
Yes.
Oh,
I'm
he's
here.
there. He's there. It's fine. It's fine.
Now, Sammy, we've only got until we pass behind the second moon before the signal will kick out again, and we won't be able to talk to you live.
Okay.
How have you been?
I'm okay.
Yeah?
Baby, what's wrong?
Oh, a couple of things really. I just the Daystrom Institute aren't interested in furthering some research I was doing on gravitational engines. It's
Gravitational engines is your speciality.
one of them, yes.
Maelstrom Institute. I swear, I will write to Zucker. This is unreasonable.
There are better places for you to work than just routing everything through Okinawa. There are other institutes for you. It will be fine.
Bunch of hacks.
It's okay.
They just want whatever looks good for publishing.
It's okay. I'm sure I'll be able to navigate it. What's wrong with me?
What do you mean?
There's been a bit of an incident here.
What sort of incident?
Nothing directly to do with me. I'm thankful to say. You'll likely hear some bits and pieces. I've no doubt, or maybe not actually. In truth, I'm fine. I'm well. I'm healthy. But is something wrong with me?
Well, we were expecting this. We
really should have called you sooner.
We got a subspace communication from your chief medical officer.
We did suggest we should speak to you sooner rather than later.
I feel like perhaps sooner didn't come quite soon enough.
It's okay.
Sooner should have been years ago.
We've all been busy.
So, Sammy, do you remember how we talked about the scientific method? How you gain an idea, a theory, you must test it, you must test it again, you must push your hypothesis to its natural limits before you run back up to the lab to tell us about something you found. That way you are able to better explain yourself and no one ends up disappointed that they didn't discover a new sort of mineral.
Yes.
So I have been undergoing a long-term research project. Long-term in that it was sort of due to come to fruition in perhaps a few years. And I didn't want to talk to you about it until I knew for sure. I mean, now I only really have a 94% certainty, which scientifically speaking is significant, but not
We
certain.
waited for a while to talk to you, and I'm sorry we didn't talk to you sooner, and we should have done. But it started out that we didn't want to worry you about what could be nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, we were wrong to not act sooner.
I don't want you, either of you, to think that I'm trying to ascribe blame. This isn't about when either of you should have acted. I just want to know what's happening.
So, when the colony on Castor 4 was established, obviously they reached out for researchers, for technicians, for interested parties who wanted to go and explore a new frontier, scientifically speaking. And your mother and I talked extensively about what that would mean to up sticks and move, and you were on the way, and we thought it was the perfect time for a new start. And I was thrilled. I had a lot of research opportunities. It was quiet. I know you never much cared for living underground, but so you're the second generation of people born on Castor 4. You are in fact the oldest of the second generation. You were conceived on Earth. And when you were born, was so small. And I thought it'd be the perfect time to do the routine tests that you do on a new baby. Just make sure that you weren't being adversely affected by the lifestyle underground or lack of significant contact with your peers. You're always a bright child. I didn't notice anything. There was obviously the low-level radiation that Caster 4 emits. That was your first research project for school.
I remember.
Taking a soil sample. You won a good conduct award for that. I still have it somewhere.
Oh, good.
But long-term trends that I didn't notice because they didn't seem significant.
You always worry as a parent. You think that any little thing could be a catastrophe. That's the first how it starts, and you have to train yourself to not. You have to train yourself that these things are normal, that kids get bumps and scrapes and coughs and colds. And then it gets to the point where unless it's right in your face, you don't know if something is a problem or something is just a sniffle of the day. Sorry, darling, we should...
No, Riley, go on.
No, I was going to just say that we talked around this a lot.
So... It started with Megan's daughter. A small thing. Hardly anything, really. Just... I hadn't thought to compare it to her medical records and the science compared to her records and the adults that lived aboard, lived on Caster 4. And that moment when, God, you feel like the bottom is falling out of your whole world. I ran a long-term data sample, and I ran it again, and that's when I started noticing things that were beyond my realm of expertise, far beyond. So I needed to speak to actual Federation doctors, Starfleet doctors, technicians. And only when the term long-term cellular decay really became part of my vocabulary. We've been calling it Mutashami Erlas. You know, after the doctors.
Mm-hmm.
Long-term cellular decay that excites cognitive function in the short term, but decreases biological disease resistance long term.
Oh.
And I noticed it with Megan's daughter, but many of the other children born since have shown resistance to the condition. And I think I convinced myself that you were one of the resistant ones. Because the other outcome was that you'd have a life expectancy of about 40 years.
Between 35 and 40. And there's a distinct likelihood, obviously we don't have the data yet to establish what level of likelihood, but would be more susceptible to contract neurodegenerative diseases such as Parkinson's, Alzheimer's at some point probably in your 30s, with other associated physiological risks of cellular decay.
Organ failure.
Yes. We don't know yet very much about what this would look like, what in practical terms or in likelihood, severity, speed, time. There's so little. This is new. So I'm sorry that the fact that we can't really even give you many answers other than just this. I know that's why I've been so reluctant to want to talk to you about it, because what can we tell you other than that something awful is going to happen?
I understand that.
Sammy, you shouldn't be the one who needs to sit here and be strong for us. We're sorry. We're so sorry. I'm sorry that I did this to you. I just thought we would have a life somewhere else, a new start, and you could be a new bright generation. I'm so sorry I did this to you.
I'm scared.
I know.
I know, baby, I know. But I went to a conference some months ago. I have some really promising leads.
Okay.
And I'm not going to lie to you and say that I have a solution, but I have been pursuing this for the few years that I have been coming to this conclusion, and
well, you're brilliant, so
modern medicine is a marvel, and we are not going to give this up without a fight.
If I can help, then I would like to.
baby,
It's so silly because I want to tell you not to trouble yourself with it. That's so stupid.
my baby boy, what you can do as of right now is have something that you can do that isn't gonna make you dwell on this. Please. I know that's easier said than done, and it's why I didn't tell you to begin with, because I know what that beautiful, brilliant brain of yours will do. I know it's already doing it. Just please do something for you.
Okay. I will, Mina, I will, I promise.
You should come for a visit. That would be nice.
I like that. I can't right now, but
Well, no, we've got lots on.
And you we're so proud of you for being busy, being chief science officer,
A lieutenant as well.
Lieutenant.
yes, thank you.
Hey, I meant it. The Daystrom Institute are a bunch of hacks.
They are.
They are elitist. They think you're too young, but they don't appreciate how phenomenal you are.
It's such a political institution. That's all that it will be about.
It's who you know.
Well, I will.
Okay, so Sammy.
Yes.
So, a plan. We haven't got long. We are going to continue with the research routes we have at the moment. We are going to arrange a time for you to take some leave and come and see us in person, during which time I will run you through all of my research.
Okay.
I don't want to send it straight out to you, but I'll talk about it. Your doctor has very kindly offered, with your permission, if you agree, to talk a little more about your current records. So you just have to give them that approval, baby.
Okay.
And then when you come out, we are going to go through everything. I know how important it is to you that you have a plan. So until then, there's nothing more you can do. And when you come out, maybe bring that new boyfriend of yours. That would be. We can put you both up.
Yeah, we'll see how things go.
Okay. Oh wait, we're not gonna. It's a little.
Are you?
I'm losing
Love
you.
you.
Love you too.
Love you, baby.
Love you too.
Federation logo, bright L cars. That's all you get.
I need to go see Dr. Burov. Go see Dr. Burov.
Burov has stashed some of that cake in sickbay. Is Kath's guess.
Well, obviously.
Obviously. Down in their little doctor's office, because on the intrepid class, the doctor gets their own little office adjacent to sickbay.
Mm-hmm. And they're sat there talking to Dr. Light, like, so that's why they're having cake. It's like a party, but it's a sort of ongoing party. Oh.
Hello.
Lieutenant Casey.
Yes. I'm here to give full authorization to both of my mothers to have access to my medical records.
Dr. Light, would you give us a moment?
Of course, Doctor, Lieutenant.
Thank you.
Would you like some cake?
I don't think I'd be able to stomach it.
Would you like a hug?
Okay.
Come here.
And he just starts, like, the chest starts heaving with sobs the moment he's against them.
Oh, it's okay. It's okay.
35 to 40 years. I'm more than halfway through my expected life.
What is expected?
Well, 35 to 40 years.
Oh, yes. But look at all of the things you have achieved with the life you've had so far.
I know.
No, I'm not doing that to say, therefore be grateful. I'm saying, therefore, if any group of people are going to be able to solve this, hey, it's the brightest mind of a generation.
Yes. I just didn't realize what it was costing me.
Lieutenant Casey, I do want to apologize, though, if it was out of line for me to reach out to your mothers.
No.
Given what occurred on Tamellian, it was something of an extenuating circumstance.
No, I understand completely, and I have a very good relationship with my mothers. I love them to the ends of the world and back. It's no concern. There's no apology needed.
And I know you almost certainly know this, but from the conversation I had with them, they love you so much.
I know.
I wish my mother had been half of the mother your mothers are. It's not fair.
It isn't. I'm sorry. I seem to imbalanced in good parental figures, I suppose.
Some people have all the luck, eh?
Yes.
But hey, I know that this is big and scary, but we take big and scary things one day at a time.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
That I want you to think, even if it is worst case scenario, and on the minors we always thought in worst case scenarios, which explains my cheerful and sunny disposition, 10 years. That might seem terrifyingly short, but it's also a long time. And that is time that we have. And now that we know and it's out in the open, we're not going to give up on this. We're not going to let the despair in.
Okay.
So I want you to know, any hour of the night or the day, if you feel that creeping in, you can just send me a message. If you need me to show up or send someone, or if you just need to send me a message saying, help, I feel scared and quiet and now I'm going to bed. I'm going to listen.
Thank you, Doctor. I don't feel better, but I feel a little bit more in control.
Now, I'm going to ask you this honestly, but I think I already know your answer. This upcoming mission, if you would rather I sign you off for it.
No. My mother's have already asked that I find something to focus on, which isn't my situation. I think it sounds like a very good idea, just to have something I can fixate on. That isn't it.
Understandable. But if at any point during you feel like it's too much, you let me know. I get you straight out of there.
I will be entirely honest with you. I promise you that.
Good. Now, go on, enjoy your day.
Thank you, Doctor. And he will head out.
Okay. Sammy boy, is there anything else you want to do?
I should go and see Strange.
Do you want to stew for a bit first?
I would love an opportunity to just focus up my thoughts. If there's anyone else that can have a scene, that would be wonderful.
Well, like tomorrow morning, new chief engineer arrives.
Oh, hell yeah.
You can stew on things for a bit. Okay.
Cool.
Commander Talandra. Unless anyone wants to jump in with something else which will happen before the following morning. But, Commander Talandra, you need to receive Lieutenant Abigail Reyes at Transporter Room 2 to come aboard. Her luggage will have been sent ahead because that's how people roll.
Arrives with just the ever so tiny, like, hold all of,
Yeah.
This was just some stuff I had.
My travel bag, it's my carry-on luggage. And yeah, so Linkovich will do the ooh, because apparently transporters need sliders. Why? They do.
If there's no one there sliding it, how will it know?
Well, no, you can't just press a button. You've got to slide it.
Obviously,
and
that's how transporters work.
yeah, that's how they be. And materializing is the shape of a human woman. She's late 30s, early 40s. Not enormously tall, bit stout, solidly built. Uniform is maybe a little rumpled, like it's not a state, but it is not finely pressed. She is just like largely made of hair, like thick black hair, which has been tied back, but like maybe she didn't try too hard. Maybe this hair has a life of its own. Who can really be sure? Slightly kind of fairly plain squarish-ish features. And yeah, she sort of bounces off transporter. Lieutenant Reyes, new chief engineer, reporting for duty.
Lieutenant Commander Talandra, first officer.
Oh, pleasure, Commander. Good to be aboard, I guess. Yeah, so what's the sitch?
Perhaps we could step into my office, and
Sure.
I will sign you aboard.
Oh, yeah, cheers.
She's Terran, isn't she?
Yes. Oh, no, actually, she's from Alpha. Sorry, I replaced Terran with human in my head and remember. No, she is from Alpha Centauri.
Then, upon arrival in Talandra's office, she'll go, do you observe first contact day, Lieutenant?
I mean, it happens in front of me.
Help yourself to cake.
Grab some cake.
Talandra settles down, and we'll go through, we'll be handing her pads,
Mm-hmm.
and she'll be doing things like touching them, or like moving them, or checking them, or doing whatever it is that indicates we're doing your paperwork.
Yeah.
But during which time Talandra will be saying, I do not know how much you know about the assignment that you have undertaken, Lieutenant, but I feel it only reasonable to give you a full briefing beforehand.
Yeah, screwed, isn't it?
Those would not have perhaps been my words, but yes. You are entering into something of a delicate situation, wherein the former chief engineer remains a member of this crew, working in the department that you have now overtaken. He is under instructions to, as it were, make no waves. And I, earlier this week, had an extensive meeting with the more senior staff in engineering regarding the handover procedure. I should not foresee there being any long-term problems, but should you feel that the officers defer to Ensign Strange's judgment more than is comfortable, you are welcome to bring that concern to me before taking action.
Would you prefer it if I brought it to you before I took action?
I am aware that the situation is very delicate.
Uh-huh.
I would not want you to feel that you were in a situation where you were... Talandra doesn't pause to think. Where you were being needlessly territorial.
Oh, right.
I am aware that sometimes a new officer can chafe on an existing department, especially if there were unpleasant circumstances.
Well, see, so far as I'm concerned, delicate things are mechanisms which need to be handled carefully, because if you don't, they break and things go wrong. But these are Starfleet engineers who, while they might be used to handling delicate things, should not themselves be delicate or break just if I apply a little bit of pressure. I expect better than that from them. And I'm aware that your engineering department is, if I may, a bit weird. I was going to find a better word, didn't find it.
I would perhaps have said unique.
Unorthodox. Yes. Strange has done all that, made a mockery of Starfleet engineering. And what the hell is the situation with this Ensign Alders? I spent a lot of time reading about the strange situation, which already is, that's just a terminology thing there, right there, the strange situation.
We have been calling it the Tamellian Incident.
Okay, that's very diplomatic.
Our captain is a diplomat.
I'm not.
Nor I. Talandra will hand her another pad and say... Talandra will hand her another pad and say, this is a full rundown of the incident regarding Ensign Rosie Alders. But, broadly speaking, apart from her regular checkups with Dr. Burov, which I account for on the schedule, she has been a hard-working, tenacious, and gregarious member of this crew.
Good. I'd normally have a lot of questions, but I guess my brain's been filled up with the strange situation.
Her pad there have certain indications about her biology. These are considered sensitive documents, relevant only for your role in management. Aside from that, only that I agree with your assertion that it is important we know that we are all serving a function as well as being people aboard this vessel. But the chief engineer before Ensign Strange was incredibly popular, ran a very good department, was a decorated engineer, and upon her death indicated that she wished for Ensign Strange to be the chief engineer. Therefore, there has been a great deal of emotion attached to the idea that this is what Gwen would have wanted. Which I'm aware is a not ideal situation to step into, but it is why I foresee that there may be some unforeseen emotional consequences beyond their professionalism. Nevertheless, I expect professionalism of every single member of this crew. And if you feel that you are being unfairly treated, then I will intervene.
I'll let you know if it gets to that, Commander. I mean, for my part, I have been in an engine room for over 15 years. I have run an engine room for 10 years. This is not the first Intrepid class I have been a chief engineer of. The way I see it, you had a boy wonder catapulted into a position he wasn't qualified for, and Starfleet have decided to send a reliable pair of hands. Or, honestly, maybe there are people out there in Starfleet Engineering, the Starfleet Corps of Engineering, who don't like me and gave me this assignment. I think that's also very much the case. As I said, I'm not a diplomat.
If it is... What's Talandra going to say? It is worth noting, Lieutenant, that my concerns while talking to you have been about the social frictions of the department. Having seen your extensive record, I have absolutely zero doubt in your ability to handle the inner workings of this vessel. And perhaps, given that some of the glory has been taken from the Iskandar by the Tamellian Incident, you have been relegated to this ship. But that is every opportunity to raise it back up.
I have never had any ambitions whatsoever of going further than my engine room, Commander.
When the engine works, so too does the rest of the ship.
If this has happened because people don't like you or because people don't like me, I will have a warp core to keep pumping deuterium and antimatter into.
And regardless of your reason for being here, you have become a part of this crew's manifest, which means that you have become part of my system.
Appreciated, Commander. That's very good of you.
I have kept you unscheduled for the first 3 days so that you can take the time to yourself and get to know the ship at your own pace, whether that be extensive or more hands-off. I have scheduled you a meeting with your senior engineering staff at 2000 hours, and I have scheduled you for a follow-up with me in 3 days, in the next 4 days.
Sure. Well, I'm gonna summon the entire engineering staff to main engineering as soon as possible. Just have a quick word with a lot of them.
Excellent. Your main point of contact in engineering is Ensign Kingston, who will meet you from the turbo lifts. I'm sure he will be able to direct you properly from there.
Said, served on a Intrepid class before. They are rather built the same.
Quite so. Let me know if you need anything else, Lieutenant.
Sure, Commander.
Oh,
Thanks
and you
for
are...
the cake.
Oh, you're welcome. And you are instructed to report for your medical at some point in the next 3 days.
Oh, yeah. Hops up, grabs bag. That was all.
Dismissed.
Reyes leaves. Not long after, wherever Ensign Strange may be, his pad will ping with like a little like on the official version of the staff WhatsApp group for like all engineers to report to main engineering.
Okay. He'll drag himself out of the nastiest Jeffrey's tube on the Iskandar, which is almost certainly where he's ended up.
He's cleaning with a toothbrush.
Toothbrush? Both of me assume he's been given a toothbrush.
Lick it clean.
In my day.
No, that's Cantos's voice. But yes, he will tootle off down to engineering to go meet the Goblin Queen of the Iskandar.
Yeah. When Strange gets there, there's a bit of the crowd as everyone has got to be in there. There's a bit of the hubbub and muttering as the atmosphere is still pretty guarded. Strange was always well liked as chief engineer, and the heir apparent as stated by Gwen. So regardless of anything Strange would have said, at the very least, even the most professional Starfleet engineers are going to be a bit like, So the staff are lined up kind of at the sides, and there's the upper gantries on an Intrepid class engineering. And not long after Strange kind of slinks into the crowd, Reyes comes in. Between whatever time frame this has been, her collar has loosened and her sleeves have rolled up. And she's lost the bag somewhere. And the hair's a bit more loose. Comes in, sort of, like there's a bit of hubbub. Some people don't necessarily notice. She claps her hands together. All right, listen up. My name is Lieutenant Reyes. I'm your new chief engineer. I could cite my track record, but frankly, some of you will have already read my personnel background and will have made judgments of your own. And those of you who haven't either can and make judgments of your own or won't give a damn whether or not I tout it. I appreciate that you've got, that this is a lot, that you've been through some things, that there have been some difficulties in recent times and in recent years. My commiserations. I met Commander Anderson once at a conference, but she had a good reputation. And I am sorry that you've had some difficulties in recent times, but may I say that as you're adapting to things and changes over the next few days, may I say, do not trouble me with your personal problems here. You are Starfleet engineers. Now, the impression that I've got has been that you have been treated, and it's not your fault, because this is how people treat Starfleet engineers, that you are all geniuses and special miracle workers, that you work in mysterious ways to keep the ship going. That is not true. You are well-trained specialists who perform a specialist task, and it just so happens that we do it when things are exploding so that people don't die. But the fact that the rest of the fleet call us miracle workers, I think, makes engineers get sloppy, arrogant, and self-important. I think two of those things might be a bit tautologous. You are not miracle workers. I am not a miracle worker. We are hard workers. If we screw up, people die. The attitude of miracle workers leads to you thinking that your judgment is more important than what you're told to do. That the regulations exist to restrict your massive brains. The regulations have been written over decades and centuries of better engineers than any of you and better engineers than me, testing, prodding, suffering. The regulations are written in blood. You will abide by them. Like I say, if you have a problem, don't come crying to me. If you are not prepared to be hard-working Starfleet engineers keeping this USS Iskandar ticking, then you can go and ask for a transfer. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear how sad you are that I'm here. I don't need to hear it. We'll do a job. Right? You good to me? I'll give you a decent shift. Yeah, that's all. So, my name's Abigail Reyes. Did I say that? I'm not sure. You can call me Lieutenant or Reyes or Chief or whatever. Just, I know bullshit tone when I hear it. Yeah, that's all. You can get back to your work. I don't have a shift for a few days, but I'm sure I'll stick my nose down here to familiarize myself with it. But I have been crawling around the innards of Intrepid-class starships since the USS Intrepid was commissioned, so I do know my way around an engine room. Right, yeah, get to. Oh, Strange. My office.
And Strange will kind of stop staring at his own shoes for a second, look up and go,
So, I need you all to know I was
yes,
listening,
Lieutenant.
but I took my headphones off because Sable Whisper was stood in the doorway and I went, "You need to hear this!" and he was going to make a cup of tea, and literally when you went, "Strange, my office," he just went, "My cup of tea can wait," and sprinted downstairs. So, just I need you to know that that's the exchange that went down.
Reyes goes to the office, which I assume that Strange has meticulously cleared out of
Oh.
any sign that he ever existed.
Oh, yeah, it'll have been fucking spotless. Like, it'll look like no chief engineer has ever been in it. It's scrubbed that and emptied that well.
Reyes sort of perches on the desk. Are we gonna have okay, first things first, yes, I'm your new chief engineer, blah blah blah. It sounds like you've been for the moment, I'll do you a solid and let's just leave protocol at the door just for this conversation because I'd rather just get this out of the way and done with. So I will not report you or whatever if you want to say something to get it out of your system. I'm your new chief engineer. I'll be your new boss. And I have been sent here, so far as I can tell, because nobody else wants the job and because this ship needs a pair of seasoned hands.
And because, bluntly, I've screwed up.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I don't know if you were promoted too quickly. I don't know if you're just that stupid. I don't know if too many people told you how special you were, or if not enough people told you how special you were. I don't know why. I know that you experimented on illicit Borg technology. I cannot fathom why anyone would be that stupid. I don't care. It both gives you a pass and it doesn't give you a pass. No good reason. I've seen your record, I've read your record, you've done some good work, you've been a good engineer. You will be a good engineer for me, or you can request a transfer, and I don't know who will take you. I don't know.
I suspect the list would be quite short.
Yeah, probably. And probably you will be lucky to be on a Constellation class, or more recent than you'll be on some tugboat somewhere. Yeah, I need the team to work. I need you to work. You're an experienced engineer. For this very young ship, you're a skilled engineer for this very young ship. You're an engineer lacking in judgment on this ship. You will need to earn the trust. So far as I'm concerned, you're everything that I do not like about the Starfleet Corps of Engineering. I do not like the Wonder Kids. I do not like the Miracle Workers. There is graft here. When I say that you'll learn it, that's not me offering to mentor you.
Fair enough.
Right now, I'm just
wouldn't
talking.
have expected it.
Good, right, talk. I'm talking now because that's just what I'm going to do, because I'm feeling it and this is awkward, and I don't know if you've got like a spark of a thing to say, do you?
No. I'm glad the Iskandar has a capable pair of hands as its chief engineer.
Okay. Yeah, you do. Oh, yeah, engineer to engineer. Or rather, engineer chief to... So I've had Commander Talandra's thing on Rosie Alders is fine, but she turned into something. Is that all right?
I don't know from a personal side of things for Rosie, but certainly as an engineer, she's still perfectly capable.
That's really the only bit I care about. Right, great. Oh, if I get shit from the rest of the engineering team, I'm not right away gonna make it your problem, but I might start screwing with you. Like, if they try to do shit to me out of loyalty to you, I'll give you shitter and shitter jobs, because either you will still have influence over them and will tell them to cut it out, or they will realize that they aren't helping anything. I'm not good at being liked, so I don't really try usually. Right, I think that's all. You good?
Yes, Lieutenant.
Yeah, all right, back to work.
And Stranger will slink out of the door.
Yeah, yes, I think that is scene. Reyes will move a bit into the office, and then over the next few hours just start poking her nose all over engineering, and is just that brusque and blunt at basically everyone at any point in time.
Incredible.
You're worryingly like my boss. It's really, really weird. Like, even down to the when he became my boss, he said the words "ha ha, you don't have a fluffy line manager anymore." Like, this is weird, Kat.
I don't know your boss.
No, but apparently you channel him.
I'm really
this was
glad.
after the night we were like, oh, we might need to fire Strange, and then I like woke up at 2 a.m. and I was like, I know who the new chief engineer is.
I'm glad, as a sidebar, that we've established that all this time Rosie Alders is still an acting engineer, and just like there's just a monster in shot from time to time with a uniform.
Just kind of like just wibbles past like in the background.
I imagine my headcanon for this, I was talking to Sable about this the other day, is that after performing First Contact, she had to go away for a few months. Like, medical spoke to her. She had to go through a rapid like conversion course at Starfleet. They were like, we just want to go over a few more things now. And then they were like, okay, we have every reason to let you stay in Starfleet. Would you like a more quiet job on Earth to, help you settle back? And she's like, no, I'd like to go back to the Iskandar, please. And they're like, we'll ask. They were like, Captain, Lieutenant Commander, and Lieutenant Strange. What are your thoughts about this? And they'd just be like, oh no, Rosie's great. Her back. And then she was like, oh,
can she still use a toolkit? Great.
We just had some helps come in.
Who would that?
What?
Why?
Sable Whisper and Freya McFuzzles have just dropped a couple of helps.
Okay.
Why?
I will try to remember that those exist.
I mean, according to Sable Whisper,
Whoa.
he just wants that to be a thing that Reyes can benefit from. So
Oh, that's fine.
So I think just like put it in the bank. Reyes gets a freebie.
Like, this wasn't meant to be an actual request. Like, just to be clear, that wasn't what this was
worked, there are times we could have used that a lot.
I do have far more signs like lurking in my flat that say hinder on them than help. So,
It was applause.
Oh, thank you. So,
yes, aside from her being worryingly like my boss in some ways. I love her.
She's cool. I love her. Good character, Car.
thank you. She will be mostly NPC backgroundy this episode. So the ship will soon after be set to depart to cross the border to Hatoria, which will take some days. I will happily allow Mike to take point in what he wants. What is Sammy Boy doing? Because I know we have other scenes to do between now and then, but what's Sammy Boy doing?
I want to kick off the conversation with Adam, but I want to do it from, like, I want to springboard it off the first engineer's brief that Casey shows up to.
Okay.
Especially off the back of everything she's just been saying. I think that needs to happen.
Oh no!
Just having a quick think. To be fair, that will probably be within, like, Reyes does need to go to sickbay, but I think we'll stick with engineering for the moment, because I think that will be, let's keep this. So yeah, because at the end of the day there are only so many officers, engineering officers as opposed to enlisted. I think it's like Strange, Alders, and I have lost track of what rank Kingston has.
Kingston's still an ensign, but it's probably like at the point that Casey was at.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of like,
in order to maintain my favourite thing about Alders, instead of her being at the meeting, can it instead be a moment of like everything about Reyes being like, I don't know about this, I don't know about that. Can it just be Reyes handing her a pad and being like, yeah, get it done, and just being really chill, and she blimbles up. And like, of all the things that Reyes is like chafing at in the ship, she's just like, nah, this is good, you're a good engineer, I like what you're about, you're very direct.
Reyes was like, I don't know what this is all about. I'm just a blob monster, but I'm a really good engineer. Okay.
She's not a blob.
I care about the last two
in my
words
head,
of
she's a
that
blob
sentence.
monster.
In my head, it's like the creature from the Black Lagoon sort of swamp.
Isn't she like chitinous? Doesn't she have?
Yeah, she's kind of green and chitinous.
No,
I just love the idea that to keep the effects budget down, it's like good work, Alders, get it done. Anyway, meeting time, and like
she's now like a Morn. Mm-hmm. She never you never see close up. She's always in the background. Never says a word.
Or slightly off screen, and you'll maybe see like an arm, because you can have like one of the crew with an arm on a stick, and have that as your fizz repping.
Thank you, Rosie.
And everyone's looking up over the cameras. Thank you, Rosie.
Her name's Rosie.
I mean, she
and then there's some off-screen chittering, and the arm.
She can be fully on screen. She just won't have to be in a scene.
Yeah.
So.
Effects budget though.
This is not an episode of fucking 1980s Doctor Who.
Ensign Alders chitters off to go realign the EPS conduits to
leaving a trail of cellophane and bubble wrap behind.
This is stereotyping. She can speak English.
And
with the kind of there's a bit of an accent there that Louisa English sounds a bit like jittering.
And that's so it's just Kingston, whose rank it definitely changes from scene to scene. Kingston.
Sure, Kingston's fairly consistently been ensign.
It literally on the list of NPCs, he's listed as a petty officer.
Fair.
I think he was a crewman originally.
Well, he's been promoted to ensign.
Brilliant.
Whatever. Kingston. Let's just call him Kingston and never speak of his rank again.
His rank is plot convenience.
Kingston is there. Some other nameless engineers are there. Strange is there because Strange isn't Rosie and is an officer. So whilst it's a bit swings and roundabouts, one of them is a hitherto unknown alien species who just manifested in the middle of a mission, and the other one is Strange. So
the other one is Rosie Alders.
But Rosie hasn't screwed anything up yet, so good for her. So Reyes has the briefing. Is probably running through here are some ways we're going to change some of the operations. That's she is not instituting massive changes immediately coming in. She is a canny enough engineer to know that is disruptive. There are clearly some things that she will be instituting to adjust in future for things which she will back up with her experience, but is clearly not shy about saying we're going to change this, we're going to change this. That's not going to happen anymore. So Casey can lurk at the edge. What is Casey doing? I'm saying Casey will lurk at the edge.
Because we need to piss her off, right?
Yeah.
So he's got a pad, and he's listening, and he's making notes.
Mm-hmm. And I want to see if we can get the deuterium injection a little bit smoother. That will allow us to have faster acceleration of warp factor. And Lieutenant, can I help you?
Oh, no, thank you.
What are you doing in my engine room?
I was listening to the briefing.
I don't know. Are you lost, Blue Shirt?
Oh, no. I just like to listen to the briefings and maybe help where I can.
Who are you?
Lieutenant Samuel Casey, Chief Science Officer.
Hi, Lieutenant Reyes, new Chief Engineer.
Good to meet you.
I mean, it's your 10 minutes of listening to me discuss antimatter injection flow.
I thought it was very interesting. You've clearly got a few insights from your previous experience that you've brought.
Oh, thank you.
Sorry, I didn't mean to sound condescending. I struggle with tone of voice.
Okay. Yes, I have picked up some things here and there in my time. Right. Goes back to the meeting.
Strange is back staring at his shoes.
Finishes and then eventually ends with, and do you have anything to add, Lieutenant Casey?
Not at this point, no. I'm going to run a couple of calculations for you, but I think...
For me?
Yes.
Why?
With the antimatter injectors, I just want to make sure that you're on track with that.
I do not recall asking the science department for a consult, Lieutenant Casey.
Oh no, I'm not here for a consult.
You are. Oh, no, you're right, because I'm not consulting you. You are backseat theoretician, engineering room driving. That is a thing.
Okay. I'm getting the impression I'm not welcome.
You are welcome to listen to my briefings because I don't really care what you do or where you go. But if I want the opinion of Lieutenant Junior Grade Chief of Science Officer Samuel Casey, I will ask for it. I don't know how things used to work around here, but now this works by this is my engine room. These are my engineers. And we don't need you to unsolicitedly come and tell us how to do our jobs, Lieutenant.
Well, I don't want to make this any worse of a first impression, so I'm going to take this opportunity to leave and thank you for your time.
Okay. Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
He echoes the bye-bye.
As he leaves, God. This fucking crow. In case he leaves, Reyes looks at the engineers. Is he always like that?
Sometimes.
Okay. Did he give
More
you,
often than not.
Did he give you this kind of shit?
Kingston.
He did try to tell you how to run your engine room.
All of the other officers at the table look awkwardly at Strange. Mug. Good mug. Interesting mug.
From time to time.
Okay.
Yes.
At that time, were you conducting illicit research onto illicit technology when he was telling you how to run your engine room? Like, was that part of what he was telling you what not to do?
No.
Okay. Right. If he comes in here again without a specific actual job, which isn't one he's given himself, let me know. Right.
Okay.
How old is this crew? I'm gonna go. You've all got jobs. Do them. And also trust your own instincts and experience as engineers and not what someone with a pad has done calculations off the top of their head.
Wasn't off the top of my head, I had a pad. Dunk!
Right, get to.
Yes,
Right, it says and immediately fucks off.
After this, I have no idea how my planned scene for Reyes is gonna go.
I'm finding a lot out as I go along.
Fuck damn, do I look forward to it.
Yeah, so Casey, you get banished from engineering. Strange arms Reyes with half of the information.
Yeah. It's like, how is he gonna say? Yeah, so that's my boyfriend. He would just turn up to,
like Rosie's in the background.
To neg me a lot.
But somehow I was okay with it. It's a bit of a weird relationship we've got, to be honest. Like, it's probably not that healthy. I'll say those things.
Yeah, so yes, is Casey ever gonna see
Strange ever again?
No.
I think he's definitely like, wall panel just outside engineering. That's where I'm now at. And he's doing that extra, I'm pad, wall panel. And he's lurking for a Strange to eventually show up.
Seems sus. I don't think he's actually doing any tasks. Someone call an emergency meeting.
Yeah, Strange, you eventually get sent off to go do something fairly irrelevant, not within main engineering, and head out to find
just to be out of main engineering so I don't cause any problems, presumably.
Yes.
It's like, go do something inconsequential on the far side of the ship where I don't have to look at you.
Listen, all of the replicators on the third deck keep only dispensing chicken soup. Go and deal with it.
I suspect that's Lieutenant Cantos is doing.
What?
leave and find it's sexy.
We established the suit thing ages ago, Mike. Keep up.
You step outside and find Straight. Fuck's sake! Straight steps outside and finds Casey lurking.
Hello.
Hi.
How are you getting on with the new chief engineer?
She's definitely taking charge of the engine room.
I like her. I think
Me
she's
too.
she's got a good sense of humor.
I think she'll be a good chief engineer.
I'm glad that you're okay with it. I've spoken to my nuns.
Oh.
Yes.
Right.
I'm going to see the full wealth of the information that they've been able to determine through their research the next time I'm visiting. But I am aware that I am dying, and that's the price I pay for my intellect. And I'm aware that, well, they didn't say it, but I've put two and two together as that being from the conference when you found out.
Yeah, that's how I found out.
You have a lot going on, and so I don't want to add any more to that.
No, but if there's something you want or need me to do, then ask and I'll do it.
Forgive me, I maybe need to be a bit clearer. I'm not done processing this. And for longer than you and I have been boyfriends, you have known that I am dying. And I know you, and I know from a completely detached and intellectual standpoint, I know that that won't have been the reason why any of us happened. But that thought I know you didn't take pity on me. I know these feelings aren't from pity, and yet I can't shake that as a feeling. It's probably connected to the grief, if anything. I don't want to be a burden to you. I want you to get back the reputation that you deserve and make amends for what you did.
Sam, you wouldn't be a burden. That was never how this went. It's never how I felt about this.
I'm glad you said that, and I think I needed to hear that. I didn't realize I needed to hear that. But I if you will indulge me, I need time.
Of course.
And I don't want you to think this is an end, because I myself don't want it to be an end, but I don't know what it is yet. And I hope that's okay.
Of course it is. Yeah. A lot's happened, so of course you need the time to process it. So
it has. If I can be any help to you, then you must let me know. And it's not going to interrupt our working together. I promise you that. I would just like things to slow down a little for a little while.
Okay.
Thank you. Is there anything you need or want to express before I stop poking aimlessly at a wall panel and leave?
not really, I suppose. Just you know where I am when you wanna. If you want to talk anything at any point.
I do.
Just maybe not during the engineering briefings. I'm not sure Lieutenant Reyes would appreciate that again.
Okay. I'll skip the next few.
Probably for the best.
Okay. I'm gonna head back to astrometrics.
Okay. I'll see you about.
See you about.
Okay. That was excruciating. Did you pity me? Was it grief?
Hey, what up? I'm having intrusive thoughts. Mostly because I found out I'm halfway dead. So...
Emily, quick, hold up the help sign.
Help! We should have... Yeah, so the Iskandar has departed.
Oh yeah, the mission.
Heading to...
No.
Meanwhile, the
Time.
plot.
It's going to take time. We've departed. Don't worry. There's some days in transit. So I'll get to things. But I'll be like, yeah, the Iskandar has departed and heading across the Klingon border, which you're conveniently close to because I've decided for a colony world, which is also conveniently close across the border. Pretty high warp, which you can justify because this is a humanitarian mission. So it will only be a few days to get a few star systems across. By not quite like the last possible but reasonably possible moments, but after a couple of days, it will after her arrive. Lieutenant Reyes reports to sickbay to the medical kind of coming in with about 3 pads, which she's already reading consulting. All right, who's doctor?
Hello.
Hi, Reyes, chief engineer. I've got a lot going on, but I need to report in for a
Yes, you do.
checkup.
Chief Engineer Lieutenant Abigail Reyes.
Yes.
I am the Chief Medical Officer. My name is Dr. Arkady Borov.
Okay.
Please come in, sit down.
Thank you.
Going to need you just to pop the pads down just for a moment. Tell you what, I've got a couple of scans to do first, but when you go in the tube, the pads go down.
Good. Sounds good.
I could already tell by looking at you that you're an engineer.
Yes. Funnily enough, people can guess from the grime and pads and the fact that I wear a gold shirt and do not look as if I could kick anyone across a room. Well, sometimes I can do that.
No, it's the telltale calluses on the side of your hand. Classic engineer. Also, because I've seen your personnel file.
Yes, because I didn't tell you my first name.
Caught out. You're a sharp one, Lieutenant, I'll give you that.
Thank you. So I was just trying to think if you needed me to make small talk. I don't really do small
No.
talk.
That's fine. How about big talk? Where are you from?
Alpha Centauri?
I've never been. Here it's average.
It is very average. It is a world. It has forests and oceans and cities, and there are people in streets sometimes.
Breathable atmosphere?
Breathable atmosphere.
Stop, Lieutenant, you're spoiling us.
I'm just painting a picture.
You're a wordsmith? I see that.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I'm I diffuse tension with humor. If you think I'm taking the Mickey out of you, then I promise I'm not. I'm from a crappy little colony world. Lots of mining, lived underground a lot of the time. So all this talk of sky and forest sounds impressive, but I can see, because you joined Starfleet, that you wanted to get away.
Yeah. I like engines.
What's the coolest engine you've ever worked on?
Well, I was on the Sovereign during the Dominion War. It's in the first of the Sovereign class.
Oh, the one.
The Sovereign.
I had always wondered about that. Does that mean that there was a the Intrepid or a the Akira?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes. Traditionally, most of the time, ships are named after. Well, the prototype is named for the class.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I suppose that makes sense, but
like Defiant and the Defiant, and yes, the Intrepid and the Intrepid and the Akira. There was the Sovereign, the Majestic, and then the Enterprise.
See, here's the thing. I enjoy engineering on a sort of purely practical level, but the theory and the history of it completely passes me by. Like, I love fixing wiring and plasma conduits as much as the next person, but when it comes down to the history of this is this and this, like, I didn't know there was a whole festival today about an engineer who built a thing, and I thought, oh, okay, I don't need to know about that, I just know how warp drives work.
Well, I mean, Zephyr Cochrane is the human who invented warp drive.
No, of course.
Oh, well, actually, he's the human who's credited with the invention of warp drive. And, it's not as if that was the product of multiple teams up to and including various wartime developments from including the Eastern Coalition's contributions in World War III. And then Cochrane obviously got some of that, but he also had a team with him, which we don't really talk about them very much.
I see that engineers have the same problem that some theoretical doctors have, which is the whole, Doctor this invented this. And it's like, Doctor this had a big team of doctors.
And, history and background of not just the team who worked with them, but all the teams before that who did the bit. And someone developed that tiny little component which went in there and allowed, the ODM conduits to process so much more quickly in the data, which, allows these scientists and people to, find their sensors so quickly. But you know what I mean.
Exactly. Useful, worth talking about, but then it's the, I'm the Dr. Neutron principle, this and this, and you go, okay, I get it.
You get that a lot in engineering, and obviously it's all the question of, can you suck up to the right people and say the right thing? And that's what you need if you want to get a really swanky job in like R&D. I mean, that's where all of the big name development comes in, and if you've not done that, if you've not creased the right palms, you're gonna be a lieutenant forever.
Here's the thing, though. Theoretical medicine is like theoretical engineering. It's sort of never really appealed to me. I'm all for people pushing the boundaries of science, but I just like to make people well. Isn't
that the point?
Exactly. But you have no idea how many doctors go, no, the point is that you must poke and prod the problem and learn the thing. And yes, learn the thing, new things, I love new things. But also, they look down on doctors that just go, I like to take people who are sick and injured, or not sick and injured, and ensure that they get better, or don't get sick and injured. And they go, oh no, it's base frontier medicine. What does that mean?
People look too much at what... Oh, I can't really paint this into a picture. It's going to be something like you've got the thing in front of you and you need to make the thing in front of you better, but people like to look at the thing in front of them and think, how can this get me to where I want to be? Which is just distracting.
God, and when it comes to medicine, people are not stepping stones. People are people.
Like it's so easy to get bored on a job in engineering. Oh, look, I need to make sure that the power array is aligned properly today. How boring. I've got to make sure it gets within the right, set of microns, within the right, And if you don't do that, well, the ship will blow up. Or probably not even that bad unless you really screw it up. But we'll just start draining power. We'll just start losing power on that. But you've got to get that one to do the boring job.
See, that's the thing, though. People accept the idea that you must do this or the ship will blow up. They go, oh, that sounds important. I better get on that. I like the ship. I like not being in the cold, heartless vacuum of space. But if you go, you must do this or the power relay will be 2% less efficient. And they go, oh, bleh.
Who cares about the energy bleed?
And then it's 2% less efficient here, and then it causes a delay here, and then that delay causes a cold fusion reaction here, and then this and this and this, and then they go, oh no, the ship's going to explode. They go, oh, who could have seen this coming? Yeah. Which is why we do checkups. Speaking of which, pads, lie back. I'm going to put you in the tube.
Hey.
You're not claustrophobic, are you?
It would be really bad in my line of work.
Look, some people are good at masking. It's important to ask. I would have been very impressed if you'd made it to your place in your career and been claustrophobic.
No.
You would have gotten a sticker and everything.
It's nice and quiet and small, dark places. Well, that sounded more like a thing than it is.
That's okay. Sometimes it's important to just be a bat for a while.
So, how much are like really young, up and coming, and need like a few trips around the block?
Oh, see, you have no idea. I think post-Dominion War is the problem because not just because we lost a lot of great officers, obviously, but the idea that people sort of had to rise to the challenge very quickly. So I'm not saying that people like Lieutenant Casey are not suited to being lieutenant. He's passed his tests, he's done very well, but also rather than the traditional career path, which is over the space of years and decades you'll build and build, it was suddenly, here are all the things you need to know. Learn them quickly. There is a water wind, the ship's going to explode. And Lieutenant Casey is brilliant. And are we allowed to talk about Ensign Strange, or will this be awkward?
If Ensign Strange is going to be awkward, then that's his own problem.
No, of course, but I know sometimes people, but like they get a new job, they're like, I don't want to hear about your ex-wife. I want to,
That's fine.
Okay, well, just again, brilliant, talented, but forged in something of a shadow that Gwen left behind. But it's why they make such a strong couple. Like they bounce off each other. They work well together. I think the ability to discuss matters sort of interpersonally and also technically. It works. I don't think I could be in that situation and date someone who had the same specialty as me or a similar specialty. I think that would be very boring. I like to switch off after work. I like to relax.
They're a couple?
Oh yeah. I mean, yeah, I think they are. I don't think they broke up after what happened on Tamale Prime, but they might have.
And did Casey always tell Strange how to do his job?
Yeah. He used to be much worse at it.
Wait, Strange used to be much worse at his job, or Casey used to be much worse for telling Strange how to do his job?
I mean, probably at some point in his life, Strange was worse at his job. No, I was talking about Casey. He used to be such a nag. Had to be told off by the lieutenant commander plenty of times. This was before.
Is weird.
This was before he became a lieutenant, and before they started dating, obviously. But yeah. He used to be very self-important about his engineering skills, and Strange had to be like, I'm chief engineer, you need to back off. And so I think him coming to engineering meetings was sort of compromise, but I don't know much about the interdepartmental politics.
Not that I really care. But did Strange tamper with Borg technology as a cry for help?
Look, everyone needs a challenge.
Okay.
I myself have tampered with Borg technology in my time. No, that sounds really sinister. I was allowed to. It's okay.
Okay.
I'm not. I think I'm not allowed to talk more about it. But
Okay.
I think Ensign Strange is one of those men who always needs to be doing something. Oh, I was about to say something really inappropriate. I didn't mean it that way. I was about to say another thing is Lieutenant Casey. I'm gonna just stop. I'm going to boop boop. There we go.
Yep. Now you're painting the picture.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. Sometimes I say words. I say words before I've really properly engaged my brain. Okay.
Yep.
So, I know you don't like small talk, but I have a important question. What do you like to do in your free time?
I like holodeck and alpine sports, but if I can't do that, cards.
Okay. So, the chief helm officer and the third officer of the ship, and the second officer, and the second officer of the ship, Lieutenant Adina Kantos, would like to invite you to our weekly card game. They are very good, very charming. Don't be charmed by them because they'll just take all of your chits. But it's a good way to talk to people who like to play cards. And it feels like, it's difficult to settle into a new environment without knowing what's going on. Also, I got you this. It's mostly similar things to what I took to Lieutenant Kowalski, who's also new. So if you need to talk about being new, Lieutenant Kowalski also new.
I'm new, you're new. I think that covers topics of conversation.
Yeah, but being like, I don't understand what
this
thing
ship,
is.
it's weird.
Sometimes it's important just to turn to someone and say, these guys, am I right? So I never know with people, but feel free to re-gift or just keep for display a bottle of vodka, because I never know what people drink and I like it.
Good.
It's real. It's not synth, so please don't go too far on it.
Okay.
This is a spare blanket because the ones that you get standard issue are just awful. Never the right weight. So I always make sure to have a stash of these on hand. Most new people come and ask for one. But if you want a new pillow, I'm sure that can be replicated for you. I've never found a problem because I have quite a strong neck. Also, chocolate. That's just because I like chocolate, and I would have liked to have chocolates when I'd arrived. You can keep the bag. And also, here are a collection of I don't know what the word is. What's the word? I'm in the universal translator. I can't pretend I don't speak English very well. Here are just some nice things to help you settle in. The things that you might want to have in a space to make it feel a little more space. Like
knickknacks.
Not quite knickknacks, but mostly things that don't smell like chemicals. I know you're used to it, but sometimes it's nice to break from work to home. And this here is a non-work related novel, which I intend for you to put on your desk and probably never read because I know what you engineers are like. And you go, no, I'm reading my academic papers. I'm reading schematic readouts. It's fun, honestly, but just 10 minutes a day. 10 minutes a day that you read something, that you look at a pad for something other than work. That's all I ask of you. That's all I ask. 10 minutes. You can do that.
Listen, this is nice. I appreciate the medical checkup and the gift stuff. Great. Blankets, chocolate, very good. So please don't take this the wrong way when I ask, are you always like this? Bouncy?
Sometimes I'm sad, but not often.
Okay.
I grew up in a very harsh environment, and I learned that just because the things around me are harsh doesn't mean I have to be. So I'm aware that sometimes people really vibe with that, and sometimes people think I'm a bit much, which means that I've given you your invitation to come and play with some of us. I've given you your welcome packet, which will make me feel better and mean I check in on you less. And I will speak to you in a few days with the results of your medical. But apart from that, my door is open if you need me. But if you find my whole energy a bit much, then I won't be offended if you do not reach out to socialize at any point in the future.
Okay. Thank.
Also, we have a long-term medical hologram called Dr. Light, who
Hmm.
is I'm sure you will receive the schematics are somewhere in your bundle of papers or whatever.
Yes.
But I have often found that for people who really view coming to sickbay as a "hello, I am here, fix me, I must leave," he is very useful. And if there is an emergency in engineering, then summoning him to the engineering bay is the quickest route to getting a doctor.
Good to know. Thank you. And thank you for the vodka and the blanket and the chocolate and the stuff.
Mhm.
I'm going to go.
Also, if you like winter sports, the lieutenant commander is particularly fond of mountain climbing. She might know a few good holo programs.
Oh, and thanks for the cards. I'll see what cards.
Okay.
I want a scene that immediately follows that. It
Yep.
lasts 5 seconds.
Uh-huh.
Zal is walking down the corridor. Oh, Reyes?
Yep.
Hey, Lieutenant Zal, Chief Security Officer. Good to meet you.
Good to meet you.
And then he walks away.
Amazing.
Perfect.
I respect the strength that he's like, I see the face of someone who's just spoken to Dr. Burov. He does, sup.
Sup.
So, the Iskandar hurtles through space, bending space-time itself to be able to cross star systems in a matter of days. People begin to settle in. It is only a few days' journey. There are various automated checks which occur crossing the border, but Lieutenant Kowalski very keenly makes sure that these are replied to with all the appropriate codes, etc., etc. Anyone on the bridge will
He's
notice.
Adorably enthusiastic, no doubt.
This is pretty exciting.
I just want to say, I love that it's never happened, but the absolute flip reverse of that scene with Reyes and Burov was like Burov and Kowalski being like, and I got to do this. Oh, this looks great.
That's so great. Oh, I love this.
Meanwhile, poor Kowalski, because he's on the bridge the whole time, the envy that he probably gets first up is Cantos.
Oh my God, we're being scanned. Yes, so anyone who has a bridge shift will immediately, and it can look at sensors, will immediately spot the difference of traveling through Klingon space compared to traveling through Federation space. There are like regular beacon check-ins of satellites and traffic buoys as you travel, which are pinging and requesting everything. Which it's clearly not that sophisticated a system. It's quite an old comms system and scanning system. What's broken, Izzy? Boys?
Traffic boys.
Izzy is laughing at traffic boys.
I thought it might be.
Yeah, just like every now and again, there's just a random young male Klingon.
Good, come on in. Just.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, I'm this sector's traffic boy.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Kat. This is the Keymaster
All over again.
It really is.
And yes, you will, after a few days, come out of warp at the Hatoria system. It is you can tell from your sensors that it has the infrastructure from those traffic boys, etc. Clearly anticipating an awful lot more transit going on, but there are no ships coming to and from the system. As you approach the 5th planet, which is your destination, there is a bird of prey in orbit. But as you approach, Kowalski will sort of look up as his console bleeps at him and goes, I'm receiving a transmission from the surface. It's a Marshal Sihar. She's given us instructions to land and landing coordinates. There's also implications of the quarantine situation. Looks like we won't be able to leave without running a full decom, but that looks like the kind of thing which we can do pretty pretty easily if we need to leave.
Forward the details to Dr. Burov. Lieutenant Kantos, prepare the approach.
Aye, Commander.
Landing an
I've
intrepid
had a chance to fly this baby in atmosphere before.
starship is quite a thing, but we will handle that. As you take the warp core offline, you vent all of the plasma from the nacelles and stand by to engage atmospheric thrusters. We're going to take a break. Be back soon.
Bye-bye.
Oh, sorry. What up? Assuming we are actually back. Yes, we're back. Welcome. Welcome again. Back to Star Trek Iskandar. Whereupon the USS Iskandar is descending to land for the very first time on Iskandar on the surface of Hatoria 5, the Klingon colony, whose history of terraforming has made transport and travel difficult. Not impossible, but difficult. Enough that for this problem, Iskandar will bring the science lab to them. It's the bridge. As I said, the warp core's been taken offline, venting all plasma from the nacelles. Lieutenant Kowalski hits the shipwide comms. All decks, this is the bridge. We are preparing to land the ship. We are going to blue alert. Reports to code blue stations.
So I was insulted.
This is from the very first episode of Voyager where they landed. I had to rewatch the episode where they rescued Amelia Earhart. Kantos can plot a descent course, starts to shift over to atmospheric controls, brings the landing mechanism online as you descend into the greyish-orange hues of the skies and the thick clouds of the atmosphere of Hatoria. The deck begins to shudder as you descend. Kowalski reports and confirms that inertial dampeners are at maximum. All decks have reported condition blue. You start to compensate for turbulence as the ship is shuddering on the descent. And this is like, I doubt Kantos has landed an Intrepid class before. This is not commonly done. It can, but this is not commonly done. And as the turbulence are occurring and Kantos is contemplating, tricks I usually use to compensate are not as applicable on a starship as they are on a small craft. Can I get a pilot check from Kantos?
Can.
Difficulty 2. Sorry, difficulty 1 is a standard difficulty.
Dice,
so they're fine.
they're fine, but I want to check the number for how fine. How fine is Lieutenant Kantos at 5? Yeah.
Kantos is able to very quickly adjust. The thicker atmosphere and the ionization in the mesosphere of Hatoria is making this more difficult than it should be. They managed to also identify a bit of a pocket of turbulence and avert and adjust on the fly, literally, the descent trajectory of the Iskandar. An alert does go off at Kowalski's station, and he reports, there's been an electromagnetic discharge in the power array. I'm having to reroute a conduit to compensate. But you come through, and with the view screen up, the clouds start to shift away to see mostly greenery below you. The turbulence cease. There is still a bit of an alert going off on Kowalski's console, but you extend the landing struts. And following the instructions, you have on the sensors definite signs of a settlement nearby, a large flat area for you to descend and land upon, just to match the planet's gravity, and land.
Landing gear engaged, Commander. We have touched down.
Cancelling condition blue. We are being hailed, Commander, Captain. The view screen changes to show, shockingly, a Klingon I know, right? Also, that was really loud as the cat.
Scared the shit out of me.
hell.
I'm
I saw
so
the
sorry.
audio peak and everything.
I am genuinely sorry to anyone that was shocked by that. I didn't expect it to be that loud.
I was a bit like, oh god, why am I shocked? I'm so glad that you two were as well.
Yes.
No.
Like, I don't know how visible it was, but I definitely felt like
I
wow.
apologize because I would have hated that if someone
It's
did it to me. This is Lieutenant Commander Talandra of the USS Iskandar.
You see on the view screen, looks actually as if she's on a sort of with a handheld communication. So there is the idea of outdoors behind her and what looks like the landscape beyond. Fairly powerful looking Klingon woman. She seems quite young, fairly sharp featured, with rather light hair and eyes for a Klingon, but her armor looks fairly plain. This is Siha. I am the Marshal of House Ratek. Welcome to Hatoria. I'm on my way to your ship now. On behalf of Lady Ratek, I would like to. Well, the lady would like to greet your command staff personally. So you are invited to attend upon her at Caverns Hall, where we can also appraise you of the situation on Hatoria.
Understood. We'll prepare to welcome you aboard.
Thank you. I will. Well, I would like to escort you there, and I will meet you at your ship. Very good.
I imagine
Blinks
she
off.
will hang up
Yes.
first
Yeah,
because
yeah.
she's done.
Yeah, blinks off. You get so as Talandra is contemplating who to bring, there is a comms of engineering to bridge.
Bridge here, go ahead.
The landing did a bit of a number on our ODM conduits. I could really do with doing some repairs if we want to have the high enough processing power to do any whatever lab work we're going to need on this mission. So I'm going to be down here for the next bit if you need me.
Understood, Lieutenant. I will be in touch if we require an engineer.
Great. Hangs up.
Talandra does kind of vibe with her. And just for my for ease of my being the officer in charge, what does Talandra need to bring?
Invited command staff. Obviously, it would make sense to bring my own notes. Replace Strange when I clearly meant Casey. It would make sense to bring Talandra herself. To bring. This is just as a hospitality greeting as well, so a meet and greet. Don't worry too much about getting into work, but probably bring your science boy for a science problem, and probably bring your Kantos because it's a Kantos. And if you want like Zal, but that's also optional.
I think bringing Zal is a good idea.
Yeah.
Going, you have a race of himbos. We too have a himbo.
So you can bring that. You should bring both mics then, and a Kantos.
Okay.
You can bring a Burov if you want, but you also don't have to.
No, I think.
Yep.
I think Zal, Kantos, and Casey are a good trio to bring.
Mm-hmm.
Kantos will report back to Burov on what himbos they find.
Tell me all about them.
Presumably there is some sort of landing ramp, but I don't know if we ever actually see it on Voyager.
We just see them walking across the greenery, and
with it parked behind, with
We've only got one model.
With Voyager parked behind them, but like how they got off Voyager is always really unclear. So I'm going to assume that there is. Maybe it's not. Maybe in like Basics Part 2 they do it. Part 1. Nerd alert.
Alert nerd.
Yeah, you can disembark off the ramp, which is again a novel experience for any of you, onto the surface of Hatoria 5. So this is place. The sky has this perpetual hint of gold, doubtless from those thick atmospheric clouds, which you figured could look quite orange and foreboding on an overcast day. But this is a bright afternoon, so the sun just has that very fat quality. It is a fat, sunny afternoon. The region of Hatoria where you've set down, it is a mixture of gently rolling green fields, most of which you can see in the distance are marked with a telltale crisscross of some sort of agricultural impact. dotted here and there with blotches of brown. And after the rolling hills, sudden sharp rises of hills, or even at the horizon, low snow-capped mountains. This rural idyll is broken by two features. Less than a mile away sprawls the settlement your sensors picked up, which confirmed was the biggest on the planet, and your briefing records identified as First Point, originally named by Klingons as they like pointy things, and it was the first settlement. Even from this distance, you can make out the core of rustic buildings, no more than 2 stories high, made of thick red clay of the earth, which is already under your feet, and with flashes of the sort of hearty colours favoured by Klingons. The periphery closer to you, however, boasts more of modern structures of stark plain metals, smokestacks and machinery, giving a wheeze of industry to the land and sky. Most notable of these is the hulking spire of First Point's docking facility, which is currently looking quiet, but it is a vast tower of spokes and docking bays, which would have been large enough for shuttles and freighters of the visitors and traders who would come here to deliver and receive shipments. But your directions will have pointed you the opposite way to the nearest rise, which, again, you can somewhat make out as it is a clear day of not too much rise and fall to the landscape. What your briefing document will have informed you is Caverns Hall. It sits nestled amidst hillocks. Even from this distance, starker, more jagged construction of grey stone, likely imported from Kronos, thus boasting without any words of its wealth and connections to the Imperial Heartlands. First Point looks like it's a bit of a mishmash of rustic and new industry, but the fortress is more of a reminder of Klingon martial and aristocratic control. Coming down to meet you on a bit of a chugging but large hover vehicle there'll be a trio of Klingons, but one driver, another warrior, and however disembarking from the vehicle is Siha herself, who hops out. Kapla. Lady Ratak will receive you, but please allow me to escort you to Caverns Point Caverns Hall before you proceed upon your missions here. We are most grateful by your speedy arrival to alleviate our troubles.
Thank you. Lead the way.
Of course. Please, gestures to this rickety ass piece of your ride, and you hop aboard. It's a bit of a rattling route, but clearly these are travelways, and roads in terms of the ground compacted makes the hovercraft travel more easily as you skim your way up across the gentle rise towards the steeper rises to Caverns Hall. You reach the outskirts of an outer wall where Sihar will escort you out, usher the vehicle onwards, and lead you up to the stone stairwell leading up to the main gates of the hall. However, as you ascend, the doors are opened, and a half-dozen Klingon warriors in full armor with bat'leths at their side step out to greet them. They are all wearing armor of a similar sort of plainness to Sihar, but they are, except the one who is heading them, who is a broad, powerful Klingon woman, long black hair tied up in a very intricate style, completed with carved beads, ivory decorations, straight-backed, square-jawed. The baldric is gleaming and holds the insignia of the House of Ratek, along with many other trophies. As she will stop. Halt there, Starfleet. Sihar does kind of hesitates at this appearance, takes half a step back, and the newcomer straightens. I'm Kvek, daughter of Ratak, and you step on the lands of my house. You may have been invited, but I urge you now to consider you will not put a foot out of line, and you will not bring your Starfleet judgment to our doors.
Understood.
She sweeps her gaze across the crowd, well, for the four of you, does eyeball Zal a bit. Whether or not Zal eyeballs back.
It's not like a full-on stare down, but he's not going to shy away from eye contact.
Mm-hmm. There is a moment where they continue to make eye contact.
So as a Trekkie, I feel embarrassed to be asking these questions, but
Sure.
I'm doing it for the good of the group. I'm very
Yes.
bad at Klingons.
That's fine.
Does this person have is that a role I would know about? Like, she seems to have rocked up, bunch of dudes, like...
She's identified herself as daughter
Mhm.
of Ratek, who is the the head of the house. So that, and Sihar's identified herself as the title of Marshal. What the fuck that means is, like, who knows? So this woman clearly has some degree of authority. How much of it is presumed is unclear.
And terms of address for Klingons is you use the name or the...
Yeah, name is
title.
fine. Name is fine.
Name was...
Kvek.
Like, Talandra will let the eyeballing go on for, like, a second and a half.
Mm-hmm.
And will then, without moving or without, like, turning her head, will go, "Greetings, Kvek. I am Lieutenant Commander Talandra of the USS Iskandar. I lead the away mission. I lead the mission here. Should you have any problems regarding the conduct of my crew, I urge you to bring them to me."
We'll have to see about that. As she does that, the doors slipping through the sort of lined up warriors come. Yeah, more fucking Klingons. Another two. One's quite young, wearing very plain, like, I describe it as robes, just sort of very plain garb. Hair tied back simply, just an undecorated dagger by his side. The other one, there is a familial resemblance between him and Kvek. Shorter than her, squarer than her. His long hair's loose, bit more of a belly. Very tastefully decorated in the armor, and he steps forward. Kvek, you know how to greet our guests, but maybe we should do this a bit more of the old ways. Honor. My apologies for my sister. I'm Judim, son of Ratek. We greet you to Hatoria. Your assistance is going to be, I'm sure, most graciously received. Please, Anna ushers the other one forward. Please. And all Judima does is gesture, and this attendant comes out with a tray which has a bowl of gach, still squirming within it, and beakers of water on this tray as the attendant comes out and offers it to you all, with Judima smiling and nodding. Please.
I have a question
Yeah.
about politeness.
Yeah.
I understand that this is basically we have brought bread and water
Yep.
because if you eat of this house, you're not a threat.
Yep.
Does that mean you have to imbibe everything? Or is it just you accept something from this tray and, like...
I mean, on
Because Talandra's
paper, yeah.
wicked vegan!
On paper, it would be both. Feel free to make a law check for policy versus practice, I guess, is the way to resolve this.
That is a straight +2.
It's 2. With a +2, certainly there are places and circumstances where it is more symbolic than literal.
Mhm.
that is, unfortunately, that all comes down a little bit more to who the Klingon is and what the circumstances are. Now, this is a bit more of a border world and a trading world, so you might be in on an okay scenario, but if someone is looking to take offense, they might exploit that.
So what Talandra is going to do is basically utilize high empathy observance thing. She is going to take a cup of the water. Is going to incline her head to Jihari.
Judim.
Who's Jihari?
No one. It's okay. I'm aware there are names. You can constantly ask me the names.
To Judim, and will incline her head and say, "No apology is necessary. We appreciated the gesture of your house's might," and will sip the water slowly, which on one hand could be taken as deliberate slowness to indicate I'm taking this gesture seriously, but she is looking for signs of impatience on the three Klingons who sort of are coordinating things. If it's like, cool, you've had the water, taking a long time with the water there, Vulcan.
The attendant does not fucking react. Sears sitting back. Like, the problem is that Judim has been grinning encouragingly and kind of keeps grinning encouragingly, and Kvek already has a face like, you know, something's pissed her off today. Without roll, make me an empathy roll if you want to, like, dig deeper, but, like...
I do. This is Talandra's thing. Yeah. That's a +4.
Okay, +4. Kvek won't be happy whatever you fucking do. Judim will looks like he's okay with the gesture. Like he accepts it in the spirits that it is coming. And he is actually being encouraging. He's not doing like, "Hey, outsiders, eat the camel's eye" thing.
Talandra will let the moment hang in a way that would be awkward for anyone who's not a Vulcan. And then says, "Thanks to your house for this gift of Gach and water," and will return the cup to the tray. And we'll wait, because she doesn't know if everyone has to do it, but the attendant will probably therefore move. Yes. She doesn't need to do anything.
The attendant does move on and offer everyone to have a pinch of Gach, fresh, squirmy Gach, and a sip of water.
Kath, for potentially members of the audience who don't know, do you want to explain what Gach is?
Gach, sorry, yes.
Trigger warning for people who find talk of eating live things unsettling.
Gach is a staple of the Klingon diet. They love their meaty things, and it is like little wormy things, which is the better, the fresher, and more alive it is. And this is not the freshest Gach any of you will have seen, but it is still moving. I get the impression it's just kind of chewy, like mobile clams.
But like,
cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
I think in this moment, I don't know about Kantos, but I know Zal probably can eat Gach and would be like, "Cool, it gross, but I'll do it." And Talandra is like silently very grateful for her dear old friend in this moment, because if she had to eat the Gach, she might, but she is both culturally and religiously vegan, and this is very awkward for her.
Yeah, I mean, Kantos's approach is, fuck it.
Don't fuck it. Don't fuck it.
Don't fuck it.
Eat it. You eat it. But we're like completely grateful that Talandra is a Vulcan, because just the sensation of them eating it will make her feel like, oh, live things are being eaten around me, and I hate it. But she's very much just a kind of, she is placid faced. She's looking at the attendant Klingons.
Yes.
The presents.
Yep. The attendant moves on. Everyone else. So yes, Kantos.
Kantos, yeah, with as much enthusiasm as they can muster.
Judim like laughs good-naturedly at that. Passes it on to Zal, who doubtless just takes a and Casey.
His is not without comment. And he'll look at Judim as he's grabbing his fistful of saying, I've actually never had Gach before.
Well, this is perfectly good, Gach, but this is to welcome you.
Oh, thank you. I feel very welcomed.
Now, you have partaken of our water and our food. You are now our guests. Thank you, Kvek. You may end this demonstration of our might. Kvek, I have given you the warning. I do not expect you to bring your domineering Starfleet ways here. And she just turns on her heel and stalks off with the warriors falling in line behind her. I apologize for my sister.
As I said, there is no apology necessary. We are guests of your house.
You are guests, but we have requested you to come here and aid us. I respect that you have come so swiftly. I'm sure that with you here and with all of the ingenuity of the House of Ratek and your ship, what is your ship's name?
The USS Iskandar.
The Iskandar, then this crisis will be resolved briskly, quickly, no doubt. Please, my mother is most excited, enthused, determined to meet you. It was very much her idea that you should come and hear of the tale of woe, but it is hardly that much woe. Please. He ushers you in and leads you through the walls into Caverns Hall, led through into a sun-soaked courtyard, which feels a bit colder now you're within these imposing grey walls. You have so far, at a distance, and even here, only seen Klingons, and you continue to only see Klingons. If there are any vassal races or, indigenous, you have not seen them or any sign of them. There were not any mentioned in the briefing documents.
Okay, good.
But, however, for most of you, seeing any of a servile class of Klingons, like the attendant Anna, is probably a bit unusual for any of you. You probably have not seen them, as they are, when I say they're smaller Klingons, they're just generally ones who haven't been dedicated to work out constantly like Klingon warriors do. There is a small but notable proportion of warriors in attendance, although most of them are slunk off with Kvek. Each of them wears a baldric with that insignia of the House of Ratek, though those baldrics are quite plain. Only thus far the baldrics worn by Judim and Kvek have any other adornments about them. And then you can step through the courtyard to within the keep proper, immediately within the main hall. It is clear that the vast size of this building allows very high ceilings and huge chambers, largely shrouded in darkness, without a great deal amount of windows for exterior lighting, and most lighting coming from blazing braziers and sconces. There it is. Scones, blazing scones.
You refuse the gark. Now eat the hot scone.
I was so determined to get the word brazier right that I got sconce wrong.
The brazier and scones.
Shadows. There is still a lot of space of shadows between yourselves and the main doors and the end of the chamber. The end of the chamber is where rows of tables and benches for gathering and eating are arrayed, but there's a vast space where, if full, this hall could probably attend upon hundreds. But it has evidently only been made ready, or possibly on a day-to-day basis is only ready for a much smaller crowd. And still at benches and doors linger some more of these attendants and warriors. But beyond that seating is a dais. Behind that hangs a ragged but bright-coloured banner of House of Ratek. And the center of it is dominated by a seat, a throne really, of ornately carved wood, but also jagged metal, kind of built into the wood, weathered, old, upon which sits a Klingon woman. Ratek, although sitting clearly, is quite tall, probably was once quite a powerfully built woman. Now she is rather worn, age has taken its toll. There is a bit of a stoop to her shoulders, weathered face. The long hair has gone completely white over the years. A long scar splits the left side of her face, giving a bit of a sneer to her lip. And she isn't in armor, she's in quite long, flowing robes of a very old and traditional style. Judim approaches. Father, may I present the esteemed officers of the USS Iskandar. Ratek, I greet you, Starfleet. I am Ratek, head of the House of Ratek, ruler of Hatoria.
I am Lieutenant Commander Talandra of the USS Iskandar. Our thanks for welcoming us to your house.
My thanks for you responding to our plight. I had believed that Starfleet and your vast knowledge of science and botany, as well as your great friendship to the Klingon people, would allow a swifter response to something of a unique problem. What is it you know of our circumstance, of our crisis?
Only the initial details.
So, weeks ago, my son Luth would be able to give you more detail. We received first indications of a lost harvest. It was 3 weeks ago that the first confirmed case of this Tuchnon was found at First Point, found by my son Luth. He examined some crops, found something amiss. Took a week later before his findings recommended quarantining this planet. I agreed with his assessment, and a week ago, the request was made to Starfleet, as it became apparent we could not resolve this ourselves. It's Tournon, it causes our crops to, well, die, simply put. Those which don't die produce no seed. It appears to have spread quickly, and we are not yet sure, well, I am not yet sure, I am not a farmer, how well it spreads, quickly, how, when, but we have lost overall a quarter, if not a fifth or a quarter of our entire crops across the world. Some regions have reported even a half lost. We still have stores and supplies. I do not anticipate that anyone, well, it is my hope that nowhere will starve, but I suppose that we are always going to now be one crisis away being quite ill off. We do not have the answer. We do not have the facilities to identify what has caused this, or to cure it, or even cleanse and burn everything, whatever is needed. And I have been assured by your commanders that you will also provide something of a relief. I would encourage you to build a relief station at First Point. Once you get the opportunity, from there, your replicators and your supplies will be able to. People can come to First Point, or Sirha here will ensure that they get to where they are needed across the planet. As yet, no, there is not yet any discontent. People are not happy at the quarantining. Whilst I'm sure the biofiltration methods of your ship are sophisticated enough for you to come and go if necessary, most Klingon freighters do not have such facilities. They cannot take our crops, they cannot sell our crops, they cannot bring us trade in return. So I ask you, Starfleet, cure this Tuchnon and give our people aid so that we do not have to tighten our belts so desperately, either in the meantime or if we are saying goodbye to a year's harvest.
Then, with your permission, we would begin work immediately, coordinating with your marshal to set up the relief station as the first port of call, while any data or readings you happen to have, not something Talandra would say, any data or readings in your possession should be passed to Lieutenant Casey, our Chief Science Officer, who can begin work on synthesizing solutions or diagnosing problems, and then we can come back to you with our thoughts.
Anna, after we are done here, take this Lieutenant Casey. Take him to see Luth in Luth's workshop. My son will explain more of our findings and more of the science of it. As I know that your ship has landed here, you are, of course, welcome to work from there, but as the honored leaders of your crew, I would like to offer you the hospitality of the House of Ratek while you are staying here. We will give you room, and board, and support for any cooperation needed to assist you.
Thank you, that will be most helpful.
Judim stands up at this. Mother, considering that Starfleet is now here and obviously the situation will be well in hand, I truly believe that it would be best if we made sure that tonight we welcomed them as good new friends and showed them the generosity and bounty of of the House of Ratek at this time. Ratek shifts, and Judim goes, supplies may be limited, but again, this matter will be over soon. This will pass, and no one is going to starve if we lay out the blood wine for our guests.
Perhaps as a gesture of the friendship between your house and our crew, Ratek, you may allow us to bring food of our own, that we may share a table together and celebrate your house's bounty and the Talandra words and the friendship of the Iskandar.
Judim kind of bristles out. Mother, surely we are hardly so weak as to, and Ratek lifts a hand. Your generosity is appreciated, Commander.
I mean no disrespect to your house. I intend it as a symbolic gesture.
I appreciate that. However, my son is correct. We will bring forth. We will make sure a Targ has been slaughtered, and there is still enough of our crop and Dratso to provide staple and support for a good meal. If we cannot give our guests and would-be saviors a good meal, then I have no duty greeting you.
Then we accept your hospitality with gratitude.
Very well. Mehed, see these officers to a room. Anna, take their scientist to see my son, who could not stir himself enough to welcome our guests. Judim sort of rolls his eyes at the mention of his brother. We will go with the same attendant who offered you the gach and the water. Will step to you. The Jintak will show you to your rooms. However, if any more of you wish to meet Luth, he will doubtless explain in the greatest detail the situation of the Tuchnon to any who wish to hear it.
Thank you.
Gestures, and will lead Casey, and if anyone else wishes to also come along.
Is giving us rooms a big symbolic thing Talandra needs to be aware of?
No.
Or is it like... In which case, Kantos, Zal, go and make yourself acquainted with the chambers that we are being offered, with the quarters we're being offered. I will go with Ensign Casey. Lieutenant Casey. She would make that mistake. It's Ensign Strange, Lieutenant Casey.
Yeah, I know. It's the worst, right?
Yes, Commander.
Yes, Commander.
We go to
Please.
bed.
Lay done.
Yes, Lieutenant Kandos, would you take Lieutenant Zal to bed, please?
I'm cranky and I need my nap.
Oh, take Lieutenant Zal to bed. Right. Yes.
No. This, no. Your danger, no.
You are. We'll stick with Talandra and Casey as this Anna leads you out of the hall and through the halls and to a stairwell leading down, which gets you to. Who knows what these rooms were originally? They're all part of some of the original stonework. But you are brought into a bit of a makeshift-looking laboratory. Can you both make me, I guess, engineering checks for what it's worth? Difficulty 2.
Oh, shit.
You need a 3 or higher.
Oh, shit. I only got a 2.
Oh.
I would like to tag an aspect
Uh-huh.
and re-roll those terrible dice. I would like to tag. Were we just rolling to like inspect the equipment? Or
In
notice
fact, you
about
know
the
what?
equipment?
I've got helps to fucking burn. You can. Yeah, this is for make an assessment of the. But then again, one of these is not for you. One of these helps is not for you.
In which case, I would like to tag Commander Varen, Logician of the Cousteau, because her father always taught her to be perceptive of new environments.
I will use one of the who have I got helps from? And it can't be. It's. I will use the first one that appears. It can't be Sable, so you get Frey McFuzzles to do that, but without spending a fate point for what little is worth this time of night. But it's happening. Do you want to do any? Do you want some help, Casey?
Yeah.
Take lose minor event help for a +2.
Thanks.
And there you go. So you both can reach this observation that whilst it's difficult because this is Klingon technology, and neither one of you has a great amount of experience with the sort of hands-on idea of what does Klingon tech look like. The conclusion which it took the sort of extra expertise to reach is that whilst this is obviously all set up for biological and botanical studies, it clearly was not originally designed for this. This has been something jury-rigged. It looks like this was probably originated as something more like an engineer's lab, which has been forcibly rearranged to have to realign and remodulate scanning and sensor equipment and output and readouts. So neither of you are particularly sure what the standard level of Klingon botanical and biological labs should be, but also it doesn't look like whoever works down here was working with the best, or it looks like good quality equipment, just not made for this. And the person who works down here is a wiry young Klingon who is wearing like more of the robe look that Ratek was, but it's much simpler cut. His dark hair's tied back. And a fashion either is very traditional or very simple. He is clean shaven, a bit unusual for a Klingon. And he is sat at a big flat panel with a bunch of screens over it and some samples in little trays before him, because that's how botany be. Looks up. Oh, you must be our Starfleet guests.
Yes.
Indeed.
Lith, was it?
Oh, yes. I'm Luth, son of Ratek, and you are here to try to deal with the Turknon. Yes?
We are.
You are scientists?
This is Lieutenant Casey, our Chief Science Officer. I am Lieutenant Commander Talandra, Commanding Officer.
Very well. What is your grounding in botany?
Talandra looks to Casey. I realised I looked, but I'm like, I'm on Zoom. Talandra's body language has also stepped back to like not observe the technology, but just be like, I'm looking. I'm not engaged in this. You are the Chief Science Officer. They will respect you if you talk to them.
Whilst I was not primarily educated in botany in my time in Starfleet, it was amongst the curriculum. Not one of my specialties, but I have an education in it.
Very well. Come.
Head over.
So, as you can see, I am operating here with not exactly everything that I would not the best equipment, and I myself am not a botanist by training. However, I identified the Turknon and have been trying to do what I can to learn more about it, and I'm sure I will be able to find a resolution soon enough, but my mother has insisted that Starfleet must come and solve this. So, the Turknon. You are familiar with the Dratso crop? That is the main crop, that is the staple of our commerce, our agriculture, our way of life here. We grow mostly the upland variety, which brings the family some esteem, even as an agricultural world. The Turknon was first noted as causing the Dratso crop to grow overly tall and collapse. However, that further examinations did indicate some, rapid onset of chlorosis. For whatever reason, these plants are withering, dying, turn sickly pale yellow. He reaches about some of the samples and pulls out a kind of long, sort of reed-looking with leaves, which are indeed sickly yellow, white with yellowed veins running through the leaf. After the affliction, they seem to die within matters of days. Those which don't and are afflicted, they undergo excessive etiolation, long, weak stems, as if there was a shadow over them and they were trying to crawl to get the light. And there's no seeming cause for this. Those which don't die are infertile. They're not producing any edible grains. So sometimes I can identify the ones which are tall, as they are growing overly tall, and however, sometimes they just fall over and die, but it's not difficult. I am attempting to ascertain exactly what is causing the hypertrophy in the Dratso. However, yes, I do not yet know what is causing this. I have the equipment that I have here. I have been able to examine them and observe, yes, this is what is happening, but I could do with, at the very least, even if you are not a botanist and I'm making do as a botanist, but I am what we have and you are what we have, then I assume you have your Grand Starfleet equipment.
Yes, immediately produces a tricorder. I wouldn't mind having a look at the sample that you have there, if that's okay.
By all means, gets up, steps aside.
And should you have an interest, we would be very glad to invite you aboard our ship to use our equipment. Or to bring equipment to your laboratory.
Yes, I would rather, perhaps we could synchronize my workshop's facilities with Iskandar.
Of course, I will speak to our Chief Operations Officer and ensure that link is maintained. Do you require any lab assistance on your side? Should Lieutenant Casey have his own team?
I'm really not used to working with people down here.
We can supply you some technicians if you wish.
Maybe I would rather that they didn't. I'd rather have the freedom to work down here.
Of course. Talandra has gone into full logistics mode and is like, this is going to happen, this is going to happen. I'm going to make a spreadsheet. I'm going to colour coordinate my spreadsheet. Oh!
I'm going widdly woo. I appreciate
you can...
it might take time, but
No. You can do an initial widdly woo for your tricorder, etc. Even if it's you reaching the similar conclusions to Luth, but with your eye making a science check.
Christ, that's a 1.
The dice know that you're not feeling super confident at the moment.
The main thing is that you actually. I'll go with that of you. Your scans with your hand tricorder. I mean, this is Starfleet technology in action. Your hand tricorder is about as sophisticated as all of this that Luth has put together. So at this point, all you can do is confirm, yep, chlorosis, yep, overly long, bits, weak stems and small leaves. Some of these samples are infertile. Some of these samples are suffering from chlorosis. It's all that's what it is. It's some sort of hypertrophic reactions going on here. Luth is right. You'd need more to go take a look at it.
He will kind of. I imagine there's a little bit of him reporting that back of going, oh, so this one's the one with the, and this is the.
Yes.
Well, from an initial reading, I've been able to pretty much match what you've been able to assess. So, yes, I think we can get cracking with what we've been given.
All right. I suppose, obviously, you can take some samples back to your ship if you want, but I would rather be. If you forgive my brusqueness in this, this is my world. These are my family's people. And I appreciate the assistance that Starfleet can give, but I would much rather be involved in this process.
It would suit us very well for you to be involved, Luth.
Good.
How we proceed going forward will be entirely dictated by you as the lead scientist on this project. Whether you want to simply communicate remotely with the crew of the Iskandar to aid, or whether you wish to have Lieutenant Casey remain in your house. We mean no disrespect to your seniority as the resident here, and we'll do what is necessary in accordance with your wishes.
What is your area of expertise, Lieutenant Casey?
Gravity.
Apparently it's gravity. What is Casey's area of expertise?
He's an astrometrics droid, isn't he? He likes he likes space anomalies and space
physics.
I was literally reaching for words, I couldn't find them. Astrophysics, primarily.
I was a starship designer, primarily an engineer by trade. So I too am more accustomed to space and being in it from a scientist's perspective. So you and I will make do here. If we can synchronize my systems with your labs, run any samples over there, and make sure that the information is piped, I would prefer directly back here. You may assist me in here.
Of course.
And I will assist in understanding whatever we find from our readings. Good.
Lieutenant, if you will supply me with a list of things you need doing in the Iskandar, I shall leave you here and coordinate with Kowalski.
Anna at the door sort of leans up and goes, Lord Luth, at your brother's recommendation, your mother has insisted upon has offered a feast and celebration to be held tonight. There is a blight afflicting our crops, threatening the livelihoods and health of our people, and Shudim thinks that this is time for us to have a party.
Talandra will do, to the best of her ability as a Vulcan, the expression of, I know, right? Mm-hmm. But also, just going, we understand it is a cultural gesture.
It is a gesture of my brother trying to pretend that he can do something useful in this situation, and maybe it is a gesture of my brother trying to pretend that he has more than 2 brain cells to rub together in his head. Have you met my sister? Yes.
No, I know we have.
Oh, sorry.
Name?
Kvek.
Kvek, yes. Kvek?
I'm so sorry.
Her demonstration of the might of your house was instructive.
My sister... Someone at some point is going to fall over themselves to tell you about our other brother, the late Makeg, and no doubt Kvek is obsessed in demonstrating that she is the mightiest and the strongest and the one with the sharpest bits of metal. So her demonstration, she is all words and wind.
Is there a friction there we should be aware of?
You've seen my mother? You've seen how old she is?
Venerable for her people.
Mm-hmm. And, well, Makag was eldest. Makag is dead. So it falls to Kvek and Judim to fall over themselves right now to demonstrate how useful that they will be for the house. And they are welcome to it while I will be here. But they will doubtless want to show off for Mother.
Understood. Then have my assurances that we will do whatever we can to ensure that any festivities do not impact on your ability to feed your people.
One night of it will. This is a blight which has been going on for weeks. It will not immediately devastate or collapse what we have, but it is very Judim to suggest this. Are you going to stay here, Casey? Or do you need to go attend to the ship? Attend to the ship if you need to. Or do what do you need?
To be honest, a lot of the synchronization of our lab and yours can be done remotely. There's no reason why I can't stay here.
Excellent, excellent. Let's see about getting that started from here, shall we?
Yes.
I will leave you both to it. You know how to speak should you need anything.
Of course, Commander. Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Commander.
Talandra recognizes she is of no use to the situation and goes to communicate with Kowalski.
Okay. Yeah, you call Kowalski and are like, you need you to synchronize.
Basically, he is earning his chops in the I'm not going to track Nabar, but
yeah.
But she is going to feed him a long list of we need this, we need this, we need to do this, we need to do this, we need to do this,
sure.
we need to do this.
Yeah, there's a lot of the infrastructural, here's the relief stuff, and he'll have had something of a plan ready for that because that was briefed beforehand.
It's actually a really sweet moment of the fact that Talandra loves systems. That's how she relates to people. That's why she's such a sort of nurturing Vulcan, because she's like, people like systems. And you make people happy, and the system works well. She's a good manager. But also, sometimes she gets a little crazy about it. And so, Kowalski being so good and helpful and on the ball about things means that she can be like, this, and this, and this, 2 of this, and this. And you just speak to so-and-so about this, and you speak to so-and-so about this, and you should do this, and do this, and this. And he's like, yep, got it, yep, that's already done, yep.
Yeah, he was prepared for this. You were briefed that this was going to be a relief mission. He had all of that ready. He will pause at one bit and go, syncing up our systems with our labs, with their labs. That's probably going to take more than remote work. Probably going to want an engineer to help align that.
Reach out to Lieutenant Reyes. Request that she send an away team. Give her the full specs of the situation. Request someone with knowledge of Klingon systems. Let it be known to her the system has been jury rigged, and so we'll require an engineer with experience with less than orthodox technology. I will happily bow to her assessment of the situation. Please also pass this information to Dr. Burov to arrange the setting up of a relief station. I will expect you and Dr. Burov to coordinate that between the ship and the land.
Sure. Kowalski agrees. We'll get it to work. And within about 5 minutes of this the notification comes back from Reyes, like a message to Talandra's pad, which kind of just says, "Sorry, my engineer with the best qualification in Klingon technology is strange. Sending him over to you."
The fact is that it started with sorry, but Talandra's like, it was either gonna be sorry and I'm not sending him tough, or sorry and I'm sending him. She's like, no, if he's the best, he's the best.
Yeah.
And Talandra will send. Talandra will do a very Talandra thing, and she'll go Talandra to Lieutenant Casey.
Casey here, go ahead.
Engineer en route from the Iskandar to coordinate the setup of the remote working station. You will be in charge of the proceedings. Please communicate any and all of your technological needs to Ensign Strange.
Very well.
And we'll end on just like the sort of final scene of the episode is like in engineering or like in a Jeffries tube where Strange is doing something like, I need to plug these things back in because we've rerouted it because our fucking ODM fried in this section. And then there's like a hatch which opens and Reyes' head sticks up to be aligned. Strange, get out of there. Get out of there. I gotta go send you over to go deal with Klingon technology and jury rig crap down there.
Right. Yes, of course, Lieutenant. And he'll try and frantically.
Yeah. Oh, and you're gonna be working with your boyfriend. Don't make it weird. And then Reyes pops down and just slams the hatch shut.
I hope it wasn't him that told her.
And that is where I'm going to end this session. Sorry, suddenly it became 11:30. I'm sorry.
That line alone is why Reyes is now my favourite.
Like, someone should have said long ago, you're going to be working with your boyfriend, don't make it weird. Like, these boys needed that telling ages ago.
But here's the moment. Sometimes it's just the perfect moment to just go, also, Kath, don't think I don't realise what you've done.
What?
The three children of this house are the awkward scientist, the charismatic party bro, and the serious, duty-driven combat monkey. So, Casey Cantos and Zal, and, like, the old woman who's like, unfortunately, this is my circus. No, I get it. Like...
I'm going to add that to my descriptors that I've got, because I've made notes.
Yay, thank you.
So, like, I can totally see, like, Zal, talk to the angry one who hates us. Righto, Cantos. You're gonna have to go with the party bro and make sure he doesn't party too hardy. Gotcha!
Oh no, how awful. Blood rain!
Casey, you and Luth have got to... Shh.
We are working.
Does this. And just into Talandra's hand, it just comes a glass of wine that just goes, kids, am I right? You have no idea.
Noble Klingon Arrested Development House is an amazing take, and I love it. Yes, so yeah, I think I've introduced most of the major NPCs that you need to worry about.
That's good because I'm running out of space on my piece of paper to sensibly draw this family tree.
No, you've run through the family tree.
Okay, cool.
That's fine. Yeah, so thank you everybody. That was session 1 of So Shall You Reap, of Fallout, New Face, Klingons, and next week will be Klingons, and more Klingons, and watch me stretch the limits of my knowledge of botany.
What I love is that you're doing for Klingons what I'm doing for Cardassians, which is just they get a bum rap, and I want to do some cool shit, and you're like, let me do some Klingon shit at you. It's like, dope. I'm down. I do love Vulcan commanding officer in the face of Klingons. They're like, we're gonna do this. Cool.
Okay.
What do you think about this? I don't think a lot, to be honest.
I think I might be okay for Plant Science Chat, thank you. I think I'm okay enough for the purpose of game to give it to not a botanist player, because no one needs neither one of us really understanding what we're saying talking to each other. I have read wiki pages and riffed off life, and now I know way more about crop blights than I ever did in the past. So, which isn't a lot, to be fair. I'm not good at science. Anyway, is that all? Is there anything else we need to do for y'all?
what we need to do is celebrate the bold and brave individuals who give us money to be the way we are.
That is certainly a bold choice y'all have made.
Bold choice you're making, but I'm not your dad. It's your money. Spend it how you want. Otherwise, you're spending it on penny sweets and Freddos and just a waste of your time. Now we can spend it on penny sweets and Freddos.
He says it's more a choice between one or the other, though. Unless you give us more money.
Trash bags in the chat, if you would be so kind, for these very esteemed trash fam-os. Dinkledore, the armchair Egyptologist. Ken Poyner, Kiwi Tokoeka. Photosynthetic Eligos Alexander. Liz Murphy, Michael Kreese, Andre Cherpnin. Joe, Lou Sutcliffe. Araloki, Socky, Henry Prestige, Caffeine Kitty, Hobbs, _138. I want to say Mikey, like Nike, but it's Mikey. Mikey Kyle Brun. Maybe it's a swallowed you. Mikey Kyle Brun. Ah, that's a sweet name. Where's that from?
Sure.
James, Muffy Malloy, Mike Fielding, Michael Bowman, and of course everybody's favouritely named member of the Trash Crew, with some stiff competition from Dinkledore, but our hearts will always belong to the eminently named Helena Handbasket. We shall see you next week for episode 2 of So Shall You Reap. All our previous episodes are available on our YouTube channel. You can send us your thoughts at @YouCrew on Twitter or at our Discord, wherever Discords are to be found. And next week, on Tuesday the 27th, we will have the next episode, and it'll be the day after my birthday, so you have to all be nice to me because I will be older. And that's how time works. I am the same age until my birthday, and then I become older.
Your birthday was next Monday.
Yeah, my birthday is next Monday. Hence why I said
Oh,
it will be the day
sorry,
after my
For
birthday.
some reason, I was stuck on a 2-week cycle, and I don't know
Yes,
why. That's irrelevant.
My birthday is a Monday. So on Tuesday, it will be the day after my birthday.
You just get constant me. Yeah.
Yeah, my birthday present is Kath. I get a free go on the Kath will yell horrible things at you. And on that deeply smutty note, thank you for joining